South Africa has a high rate of femicide.
We also need to ask ourselves, why do so many people live in abject poverty and so few live lives of opulence? Why, after decades of democracy, are the prospects of a white child so much better than those of a black child?
At the same time, organisers of the National Dialogue are aiming to speak to about 10 million South Africans by the end of this process. Various public and private sector leaders are still in Pretoria trying to chart a way forward for how the dialogues will be conducted. Dialogue convener Lerai Rakuditswe says at the end of the process, government, citizens and organisations will enter into a social pact.
We plan on having conversations with 10 million South Africans throughout the process of national dialogue. This is about turning conversations into community action plans and sector compacts. We are going to be ending with a People's Compact in June 2026.
We shift our focus to this now. Police remain on high alert outside Maponya Mall in Soweto following taxi-related violence this week. The tensions resulted in the death of an e-hailing driver outside the mall on Wednesday evening. Mthokozisi Velase was shot and his car set alight during the incident. In response, angry community members demonstrated at the mall, forcing it to shut down yesterday over safety concerns. Operations have resumed today with tensions still high. Johannesburg Metro Police spokesperson Xolani Fihla says law enforcement officials are still monitoring the situation.
The roads are currently open for traffic to flow following a closure yesterday, and the mall is operating. Police officials will continue to monitor the situation, which remains calm.
The DA in Tshwane says it will now turn its attention to communities across the city as it gears up to launch its campaign for next year's local government elections. The party aims to secure an electoral majority in the municipality. The DA is currently occupying the opposition benches after it was removed from power through an ANC, Action SA and EFF coalition. Today, the party announced former Mayor Silie Brink as its mayoral candidate for Tshwane. Alfara Mushwana reports.
DA mayoral candidate in Tshwane, Silie Brink, says the party will now begin reaching out to communities across the metro to get a sense of some of their challenges.
We're starting to speak to the people, to listen what they have to say, and that will inform our election pledges. But it's also important that we don't break into this thinking we know it all. We've got to listen to the people of Tshwane.
He believes the DA is the right party to govern the capital city.
We will be crisscrossing the city, every community. We'll be speaking in different languages. We'll be learning what it is that stands in the way of the municipality improving the lives of ordinary people. That campaign starts now.
Brink says the DA no longer wants to depend on coalitions to maintain power in the city. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
And US President Donald Trump has left Washington this afternoon, making his way to Alaska. This is where Trump will hold what has been described as a high-stakes summit with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin. Putin will step onto Western soil for the first time since he ordered the invasion of the Ukraine in 2022. Trump is hoping the talks will pave the way for an end to the fighting. The Russia-Ukraine war has killed tens of thousands of people and left dozens others displaced. Earlier this week, Trump gave the summit a 1 in 4 chance of failure. Gold is trading at $3,339.86 an ounce. The rand is at 17.58 to the dollar, 23.84 to the pound, 20.55 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $66.63 a barrel.
Protea in Soweto, we still have bumper traffic. This is on the N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558. While if you're leaving Benoni heading towards Brakpan, there's also slow-moving traffic on Rangeview Road between Dube and Tom Jones.
In your sports, Juan Fenter drafted into the Springbok bench for the Australia Test. Abdeslam Wadu vows to revive the happy people spirit. And Enzo Maresca feeling confident as Chelsea gear up for the new Premier League season.
It's a partly cloudy Friday in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 24 and 25 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. President Cyril Ramaphosa says the National Dialogue is a platform for South Africans to ask difficult questions to public officials about the state of the country.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Live
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Seven after 3, you're on 702. Good afternoon, I hope you are well. My name is Thabo Sholemashao. I'm in for John Perlman. We're together till 6 and I look forward to engagements. It's always great to be with you, especially on a Friday where we are going to be exchanging a number of ideas, laughs here and there, and I also hope that we will learn from each other. I do mention this all the time, that we will disagree, and there is not a crime at all. So your divergent views are most welcome. Send them through, and that's why we have such a platform for you and I to ventilate issues. We won't see eye to eye, but such is the nature of debate. It's a great Friday. The show is going to be amazing. The team that put it together is truly amazing. Karabo Charlie is going to be giving you the very latest on the roads and telling you what's coming up. Which traffic lights are working and which aren't, which routes to use and which to avoid. Karabo Malapile is pressing the buttons, and she's a technical producer for the show, making me sound well and making sure that everything else is coordinated. We've got two great chefs, producers, Jono, Kabazela, and obviously Rifuwe. They are also here to make sure that even though John is away, the train is moving smoothly as it should. And of course, we are going to hear from Stephen Grotes a little bit later on with business-related news. And Tolagele will give us the sporting news and everything else in between. Mbali will keep us updated every half hour with whatever is happening around the world. But the most important ingredient of this entire exercise is you. Without you, we'd rather not do it. You are the reason why we do all that we do. And I really mean it when I say that. We do it all for you. Just to give you a heads up as to what's coming up on the show, we'll look into the national dialogue. It kicked off today. The president said South Africans must ask difficult questions. Are they truly ready for those difficult questions? We'll speak to EWN reporter Thabiso Goba, who's been following the story very closely. Business as usual in Maponya Mall today after a day of closure by the community of Soweto. You'd remember that it was almost like a conflictuous situation in Soweto yesterday where a number of people were protesting, and to say a number of people is truly not doing justice to what was happening in Soweto yesterday. And a little bit later on, we'll touch on how municipalities are looking to shake up since 1996. Do you wish your municipality to combine with the other in order to save resources, work together, and perhaps enjoy a better, coherent leadership? And why do former presidents always make an appearance in mainstream news as central players? Is it really necessary? Do they have the right to do so? Or should they take a back seat and give others a chance? After all, they had an opportunity to say and do whatever that they needed to do. They had the power. Did they do it? But now that there's someone else on the throne, they've got a lot to say. Or it could be that it's their democratic right. They must contribute. They've got experience. Actually, they are the people to speak because they know it better. Well, all that and more. But most importantly, you need to tell me what you think of everything else that we are putting on the table on 072 702 1702. 072 702 1702. Alternatively, call us on 011 883 0702. The show has just begun, 11 after 3.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
Indeed, I did mention earlier on that Karabo is part of the show, and so is Rifuwe, who is the producer extraordinaire on the show, putting stuff together and together with Jono, of course. Rifuwe, hi, good afternoon. I hope you're well.
Good afternoon, Thabo, and to the rest of the amazing 702 family.
Oh,
Absolutely well.
Okay.
I think you can hear by my tone, absolutely well.
Well, I can. And Garabo, you good?
I'm good and you, sir.
Oh, wow. I'm called sir
Hundreds.
today. I should say when the microphone is on, I'm called sir. Very nice. Very nice. I mean, funny you should say that because that's exactly what I wanted to ask. Things that we say, but we really don't mean. Do you ever walk around and people tell you, oh, nice pants. Oh, I love your suit. Oh, hi. I love the color of your eyes. But they really don't mean it. They're just being nice. And people say a lot of stuff that they don't mean. And you would think that they would stop. They're just being courteous and pretentious. They don't really mean that stuff. But why do we even bother asking people or expressing things that are so sentimental and we don't mean them at all? Refuwe, are you that type of a person? Say stuff that you don't mean to people like, happy birthday.
You know, Tab, I'm gonna be very honest. I used to be that person, especially when it comes to people's children, their newborns. You know, someone would be doting over their child. I'll say, oh, my bundle of joy.
Yeah.
Then out of politeness, I'll say, what a beautiful baby. But deep down in my heart, I'm like, Ziakala, I'm sorry. But now what I do when someone's like, oh, carry my baby, Refuwe.
Yeah.
So all I do is like, oh, that's all I do. I just say, oh, so
But you still
beautiful.
don't mean that,
It saves me from lying. It saves me from lying.
Well, that could be a
it's almost like
lie.
it's not a lie. It's a, you can tolerate that lie.
Yeah. Well, I
God,
see what you
beautiful
mean.
creature. You know?
Yeah.
Mm.
Garabo, you?
That look,
Jeez.
Karabo.
Yay.
I'm judging already,
Yeah.
guys. I'm usually genuine when I compliment people.
Usually.
Most of the time. Yeah. But the ones that I'm hardly ever genuine about, the every year, Merry Christmas, Le Digile Biang, Ngwago Moswa, Happy New Year. Oh my goodness, those ones drain
Why are you
me.
saying it? Though?
Because
Why
they
don't
come-
you just say you too?
They come to you, hey, happy New Year.
Then you must say you
Ngwago
too.
Mos-
God bless and cut it
Happy
at
New
that.
Year, you too.
Yes.
Oh.
I love
Yeah,
you. You
well.
too. It's the same
Yeah.
as someone saying I love you. You
Oh, my. Is that what you say?
too. Sometimes.
Things that you say and really don't mean. I love you. Is that what you
too.
say?
You too.
Oh. Oh, my
Oh, God
goodness me.
bless. I do mean the God bless.
Maybe
part.
we should explain how this came about, right? Maybe we should explain how this came about. So I walked into the office earlier on and I didn't see Jono yesterday. And I heard about the said situation of the family member passing on. And I really meant it. I said to him, hey, man, I'm sorry about your loss. And he said, you don't mean it. And I'm like, heaven.
Jonathan.
No, before you attack him.
Okay.
It put a mirror in my face to think, did I really mean that or was I just being politically correct? And he says, but you didn't know my grandmother. And I'm like, okay.
That's not fair.
Actually, you're right. No, but to be honest,
You know
he's
Jono.
right.
You know Jono, and you know
That's what
what
I
it
said.
feels like.
Then I changed it. I said, I'm sorry about your loss. Because I am.
That's better. I get it when you put it in that
Yes,
perspective.
because about his loss, yes, I am sorry. I don't want people to
It was
go
a
around
teachable
losing
moment,
family.
Tabo.
Yeah,
Teachable moment.
but the other stuff, now that he put it, I'm like, yeah, to be honest, he's right. I didn't mean that. But the I'm sorry part, of course, I mean it. But it made us think and things that people say that they really don't mean. Oh, congratulations, I'm so happy for you. And they really don't mean that.
I do it a lot with my son. Just for, for,
You
moral,
lie to your
for
son.
moral support. No. Like, he'll be playing soccer, and I know he had a bad game.
Yeah,
And I'll be like, "Ooh, well done, boy."
No
Did you see
comments
that?
from me.
But that's
brethren.
motivation. That's not a lie.
It is a kind of white lie because
Oh,
he
wow.
probably
I was
he let
trying
the
to
team,
save you.
He let the team down. Everybody can see that. And as his dad, I have to be the one that gives him that moral support.
I
'cause
hope
nobody,
he's not listening, bro.
No, definitely not. Oh, I hope so.
I pray he's not listening. Yeah, and I mean, people, I like your jacket. Oh, nice jacket. And you're thinking, I really don't like it. That's not okay.
No.
But I mean, we go around saying all these things. Well, I'd love to hear from you. Do you go around lying to people? Well, not lying, but kind of, telling a white lie a little bit about whether you're wishing them well, happy birthday, condolences, and you really don't mean it. I would love to hear from you. Do you do that? And how do you feel when you know that this person doesn't mean what they're saying? They really don't mean what they're saying. Please tell us on 072 702 1702. Send a voice note to 072 702 1702. Alternatively, you can call us directly and let us know. Today, who did you lie to? Saying that the color of your eyes are just beautiful. 011-883-0702. 011-883-0702. 17 minutes after 3 o'clock, something that I hope you won't lie about, Garabo, is the state of our roads. How do they look like?
All true. At this stage, slow-moving traffic. If you're in the Kilner Park area, that's in the Pretoria area. N1 northbound between the Proof Plus interchange and the N4, that's in the Montana area. In Soweto, south of Joburg, there's also bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is in Protea Glen. Traffic is looking pretty bad at this stage, so allow for extra traveling time on the N12 westbound. Between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558. If you're traveling through Naturina, Devland, we have those roadworks on the Golden Highway causing heavy delays between Chris Hani Road and Union Avenue. Also in the Rudeport area, traveling towards Leratong Kagiso, expect some delays on Randfontein Road between Miles Stoker and Adcock. There's also slow-moving traffic ahead. This is approaching the intersection of Morafontein Road and Van Riebeck in the Edenvale area due to faulty traffic lights. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
When you talk about testicular, especially as males and how we define our masculinity, did you get like weird reactions from your male friends when you're like, I'm getting my testicles removed, for instance?
Yeah, it's funny how I think men, again, they separate the emotion and from the reality because they go, oh no, oh my gosh, oh, you're bald, you know, that's the reaction. Instead of like, oh my God, you have cancer.
Yes.
They're more concerned about that. And that's, again, it goes into your head first going, is that what makes me a man? Is that what you say, okay, if you've lost that, it makes you less of a man? And that was the wonderful journey I went on, is discovering what a representation of a man, a strong man is. And it's not things like that. It's not losing a testicle, it's surviving cancer.
Shall testicular cancer survivor
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
At the heart of global conversations shaping the future, Africa's voice matters more than ever as Africa's largest bank by assets and lead sponsor of the B20 Summit. Standard Bank Group is proud to spotlight the continent's growth, partnerships and potential on the world stage. Through informed dialogue and powerful partnerships, Standard Bank is driving sustainable growth where it matters most. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Congratulations to the Powerball winner who won a massive jackpot of over 124 million rand on 5 August 2025. Here's what she said.
The national lottery changed his life. I won a mind-blowing jackpot over 124 million after playing through my banking app. I'm still speechless. Panda Pusha Play for your chance at life-changing jackpot.
Will you be the next big winner? Play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 53 million rand in total estimated jackpots today to find out. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda Pusha Play. Players must be 18 years old and play responsibly. E2 is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Beyond the roads they built, beyond the maps they drew, lies a place only the bold will know, where mountains rise like giants and rivers test your will. With a 2.4-litre turbo diesel and off-road capability, the GWM tank was born for this. Venture further in the Tank 300 from only $7,999 per month. Visit gwm.co.za for T's and C's and to book a test drive. GWM. Go with more. Brought to you by GWM Finance, a division of Westbank and authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
20 minutes after 3 o'clock, you're on 702. Thanks very much for sticking around with us. It's the 15th of August. That date is very important because a precursor to the national dialogue took place today. President Cyril Ramaphosa opened the event and, amongst others, mentioned that South Africans shouldn't be hesitant to create this platform or jump on this platform to say and ask uncomfortable things, pressing matters. And someone who's following the story very closely on our behalf is EWN reporter Thabiso Goba. Thabiso, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the show. And what did the president say this afternoon?
Good afternoon, Thabo. I mean, as you just said today, the President Cyril Ramaphosa saying this is a platform, well, the National Dialogue will be a platform for the public to actually ask very uncomfortable and difficult questions of the government. The President spoke around, obviously, how South Africa has a history of dialoguing its way from difficult situations. We know that in 1955 we had the Freedom Charter, which came about through a People's Convention at Kliptown in Soweto. We also know that there was also the CODESA talks, which obviously charted a pathway to South Africa's first democratic elections and also the move away from apartheid to obviously a democratic South Africa. The president also spoke around some of the people who are going to be missing the dialogue. We do know that obviously the Thabo Mbeki Foundation and also a number of legacy foundations, including the FW de Klerk Foundation, have pulled out from this convention, and they've also threatened to pull out from the national dialogue. Now, President Cyril Ramaphosa saying that, this is not something new. People don't always participate in these kinds of dialogues. However, the show must go on. And, also emphasizing that it is very important to know that, everyone must participate if they want to obviously chart the future of the country.
Thabiso,
yes,
apologies to interrupt. I was just wondering before we run out of time, what was the scene like? Who was there at the precursor? And it's noteworthy to mention that this just kicks off the dialogues. It doesn't mean that they have started. This is a convention prior to the main event that will unfold in many months to come.
Yes, 100%, Thabo. And it's very important to know that obviously a lot of the people that were at the convention, that are at the convention today, are not necessarily ordinary South Africans. So these are people who lead organizations like Gift of the Givers, people from the Khoisan, people from civil society, lobby groups. So not necessarily political party leaders, so not necessarily ordinary South Africans, but these are the people who are obviously going to be going back to wherever they come from across the country and are going to be leading those dialogues that will happen over the next 9 months.
What was the feeling like, the mood, if you will, especially around the wet blanket created by some legacy foundations that they will pull out of the precursor? I want to be very careful when I say that, who didn't participate in this convention. What was the mood like? Was it jovial, or did that dark spirit hover above the talks?
I mean, listen, the event, Thabo, I can say, was a bit haphazard. There was a number of disruptions. At some stage during the event, there was a man who just wandered onto stage and just started arguing with one of the hosts in front of President Cyril Ramaphosa, making Ramaphosa's bodyguards very uncomfortable. But in terms of, the people that are not there, I will say that it's a bit difficult to sort of get a clear mood because it was unison. Everyone was saying that the show must go on. But we do have to also remember the people who are here are obviously people who have been working at this convention for a very long time, and these are people who have been handpicked to actually lead this dialogue. So obviously they weren't going to say anything that would be obviously maybe a bit more critical. So obviously the word here in unison is that the show must go on with or without those legacy foundations.
Thabiso, thanks very much for your time, and I know that you'll keep your ear on the ground. Thabiso Goba, EWN reporter, 25 after 3.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
The gates were wide opened and the doors had swung as well for business to flow inside that Maponya Mall today, which was yesterday at least riddled with various controversies, and a day before perhaps a crime scene of sorts, as an Uber driver was shot dead and also burned inside a vehicle. Someone who's been following that story for us, and I'm sure you've heard a lot from her, is definitely Jabulile Mbatha, EWN reporter. She joins us in studio to give us the very latest, particularly on business as usual in Maponya Mall. Jabulile, hi. Thanks very much for joining us. Welcome.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. The scene was a bit different today in Maponya Mall. People were walking in and out, but I'm sure that there was a bit of awkwardness given what had happened yesterday.
Yes, definitely people were, out and about and the mall was fully functional. Of course, I think the difference is the heavy police presence. And from a day to day, you don't see that in any mall. But one of the discussions from the MEC for transport, what she had committed to is that for the 7 days, at the very least, we should be seeing this heavy police presence in Maponya Mall. And that's because the community really just wanted to continue protesting. They had even planned to shut down the mall, which they didn't do. And in fact, even some of the community leaders were not there today. So I suppose they had gone back on their plan. But I think for the next couple of days, we should see that heavy police presence because, again, it is a crime scene. Police are still investigating, and to date, we're not exactly sure what happened or why it happened, rather.
Jabulile, I was a bit taken aback by the loud silence of the mall. One would have thought that the mall management would be all over the media, explaining some things and taking its customers at least into confidence. Did that silence continue today?
Yes, it did. A lot of us journalists actually raised that question even yesterday to the MEC, who was sort of speaking on behalf of the center management. She was relaying the messages from the center management, which was confusing because obviously you'd expect that, management where the incident happened would come and address the people at the very least, or address the family that's affected, at least on the sidelines. But that is not something that we saw. But what we do know from one of the messages from the MEC is that the center management said that, they had tried to put certain security measures in place without going into much detail, which is, again, something the journalists asked, that when you say certain security measures have been put in place to try and prevent these conflicts, what do you mean? Excuse me. And unfortunately, she couldn't go into details. What we do know is that there is a private security company called Fidelity that is stationed at the mall, and so now the community is calling for that security company to leave because, these incidents keep happening with the security company there.
And in closing, the Sowetan reported and I suppose unfolded more on the details of the victim. Amongst others, they're mentioning that he was only 3 days into the job and where he came from. He had hopes to make a living here in Johannesburg and so on. Do we know a little bit more, especially from the police, regarding the perpetrator or perpetrators in this instance?
We don't have that information. That is one of the first things I asked this morning of the police. Is there any update into the police investigation? And unfortunately, all we were told is that the family is being contacted.
Yeah.
They perhaps have more information than we do. But when we went back to the family and asked, how far is the investigation? Is there any updates? They said no, there isn't any updates from the investigation.
I'm guessing you'll be following the story very closely, and you've established your sources there, and you will hear from you through EWN and other platforms. Thanks very much for chatting to us.
Thank you.
Jabulile Mbata, EWN reporter. It's exactly 3:30. Bali will join us for EWN News Headlines. Good afternoon, Bali. I hope you're well.
Thanks very much, Tabo. A very good afternoon. Business Leadership South Africa CEO Busi Mavuso says she's satisfied with the progress in some of government's economic reforms. Mavuso was speaking at the BLSA's launch of its government reform tracker in Cape Town today, but she says she is still concerned about the slow pace of reforms in some sectors like transport and logistics, adding that targets set by Transnet may not be achievable. Babalundenze reports.
Busi Mavuso says to arrest the economic decay caused by years of state capture, the country had to come up with a plan to help grow the economy and attract investment. She says their tracker will go a long way in monitoring progress in key areas like criminal justice, governance and economic reform. Other reforms include addressing energy security as well as a new visa regime to attract investment. On energy reforms, Western Cape Premier Alan Windey noted how load shedding is being addressed, but he says there's been a general lack of urgency in turning things around. Babalo Ndenze, Eyewitness News, Cape Town.
Let's move to Ekurhuleni now, where there is still a heavy police presence in Tsakane following service delivery protests today. Residents in some parts of the township took to the streets this morning to demonstrate over what they say is a lack of basic services. The community says most homes in Tsakane have been in the dark for days now. Metro Police officers have been deployed to the affected areas to monitor that situation. Spokesperson Joy Mdluli.
Although the protesters are not volatile, some vehicles still maneuvered through. The EMPD First Response Unit and SAPS POPs officers are standing off at the intersection, monitoring the scene.
Mpumalanga police are investigating a stabbing incident which led to the death of a grade 8 learner from Senzangakona Secondary School yesterday. The Provincial Education Department says the learner was murdered by his peer. The teenager was declared dead by emergency services who were called to the school by a teacher. Spokesperson Gerald Sambo says the suspect, who was also a grade 8 learner, was arrested shortly after the incident.
The circumstances leading to this tragic event remain unclear and are currently under investigation by law enforcement authorities. The department extends its deepest condolences to the bereaved family, friends, classmates, and the entire school community during this time of immense grief.
And the 6th round of global talks to come up with a landmark treaty to end plastic pollution have failed. This round of UN negotiations was due to end yesterday after leaders failed to meet last December's deadline to get a deal over the line. But countries continued to negotiate into the night in the hopes of breaking a deadlock. There remained a split between a group of about 100 nations calling for curbs on production of plastic and oil states who were pushing for a focus on recycling. The talks were convened in 2022 in response to the mounting scientific evidence of the risks of plastic pollution to human health as well as the environment. It's a partly cloudy Friday afternoon in Gauteng. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 24 and 25 degrees.
Kilner Park, Pretoria, traffic sluggish. N1 northbound between the Proefplaas interchange and the N4 in the Montana area. Protea Glen, Soweto. Bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558. Still in Naturina, Devland area heading towards Eldorado Park. Roadworks causing delays. This is on the Golden Highway between Chris Hani Road and Union Avenue.
The top story in EWN, Business Leadership South Africa CEO Busi Mavuso says she is satisfied with the progress in some of government's economic reforms.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
An e-hailing service driver met his death as he dropped off a passenger at Maponya Mall in what's believed to be part of a long-running feud between e-hailing drivers and local taxi operators. It happens, they've sent the message, and it does appear as if you're scared to do anything about it as this government.
We're really not scared of them. The taxi industry must understand that we are in a democratic country, and that's why we believe that we must bring all parties on the table.
MEC for Roads and Transport in Gauteng, Kiribone Diale Habele.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
The Standard Bank Joy of Jazz 2025 is diving deep into the heart and art of jazz. This year, the legendary Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra with Wynton Marsalis are making a triumphant return to Johannesburg. Expect an unforgettable lineup with over 60 megastars gracing the stage, including Esperanza Spalding, Michelle Ndengele-Cello, Omo Sangari, our very own Siyama Kuzeni, Amanda Black, Vusi Mahlasela, and Duduzo Makatini, the Benjamin Jafta Trio, and many more. Buy tickets to this incredible 3-day festival from 26th to 28th of September. Tickets are selling fast via Ticketmaster. Take me there.
Do you know what's hiding behind the colorful packaging of unhealthy food? Big food companies target children with unhealthy packaged foods that hide high levels of sugar, salt, and fat, which could lead to heart disease, diabetes, and hypertension. But the truth is hidden from consumers. Front of package warning labels are a proven solution to help consumers make informed decisions. The government must act now. We have the right to know what's in our food. Demand front of package warning labels. Sign the petition on heala.org, HEALA.org, by the 30th of September.
Every day I'm hustling. It's our reality as business owners. And it's good to know that there's someone out there who takes care of the business that makes the business. Gotta love My Way Business Insurance. Saving big on premiums with 24/7 emergency services, plus My Business Assist with marketing, legal, and labor advice services.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
The 12th edition of the DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, is coming. From the 20th till the 21st of September, you'll get to experience the unbeatable vibes this Heritage Weekend at Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. On Saturday the 20th, catch Don Toliver, Cuesta, Inkabi Zezwe, and many more. Then on Sunday, the 21st of September, immerse yourself in the incredible performance from the legendary Lauryn Hill on the 25th anniversary tour with special guests Wycliffe Jean, YG, and Zion Mali. And local icons like Lira, Mandisi Janchis, Zoe, and more also taking the stage on Sunday. Don't miss out. Get your tickets today on ticketmaster.co.za. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star and proudly supported by 702. More info on deliciousfestival.com.
702. WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
I was told on numerous occasions that I'm very blunt and I need to tone it down, because I would tell it as it is. If the hair is ugly, it's ugly. If the outfit is bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good. So as a way of toning it down, I would rather not comment or compliment anything for the sake of peace.
Good afternoon, Radio 702. I'm laughing because I'm the one of the people. I don't mince my words. I comment what I see and what I think. If it's not beautiful, if it's not nice, I just say your jacket is not good on you. And people think I'm jealousy, or even in my family, they know it. They don't want me to comment. Whatever they are wearing, whatever they are cooking. If I'm eating, I tell, even my wife knows. If she cooks nice, I comment nicely, this is beautiful. If it's not nice, I tell her, no, today what was wrong? It's not good. It's not eatable. I always comment what I think, and I don't want to lie. I don't want to please people. When I see it in my eyes that it's not good for them, to take it or leave it. Thank you, guys. Nice show.
You know, there's something about people who are blunt, who say what they think and who don't edit their thoughts. They just blurt them out like that. And they brag about it. They tell you how blunt they are until they have to be recipient of bluntness. Then things change all of a sudden. They take it to heart. I hope none of you are like that. It's okay to be blunt as long as you can also take it, right? Very important. And in case you've just joined us and you don't know what we're talking about or what those voice notes are all about, earlier on, we asked things that you say but you really don't mean. You're just being nice. You are courteous. You're just being okay. You rise into the occasion. You are living in the moment. Perhaps your colleague has got new jeans on and nice, well, maybe the glasses, and they're not as nice. They just look different. And they come expecting a compliment from you. And you're like, oh, I love your outfit. You're saying that, but you don't mean it. You really don't mean it. Do you come across that, or are you one of those people who do that just out of politeness? You say things that you don't mean, like, I love you, babe. 20 minutes to 4 o'clock.
EWN Sport.
She may not mean it, but it's definitely accurate. Sporting news with Tolagele Mganga. What's the latest? Good afternoon, Tolagele.
Afternoon, Thabo. While Buan Fenta has replaced the injured Jan Hendrik Wessels on the Springbok bench. That's for Saturday's opening rugby championship test against Australia. Wessels was injured in training and hasn't recovered in time, while Fenta joins Asenathi Ntlabakanye and Bongi Mbonambi as the front row replacements. For centre Andre Esterhazen, he's looking forward to starting at inside centre for the world champions.
The pressure's off. We don't play as a team anymore. We play as a squad, and everyone's used from weekend to weekend. So you know you're going to get your chance again. If you have a bad game, everyone has a bad game, but it's all about effort for us. And you know you're going to get your chance again, which is nice for us.
The first leg MTN8 semi-finals will see Skukune United away to Stellenbosch, but before then Orlando Pirates are up against Mamelodi Sundowns. It's been a baptism of fire for Adeslam Modu over the last week due to the Buccaneers losing back-to-back Betway Premiership games, but he remains confident of delivering success.
We are going to bounce back and we are going to sweat on our shirt to try to represent the badge very well in the right way in order to bring them happiness. It's only the beginning.
Liverpool are at home to Bournemouth, and that will kick off the 2025-26 Premier League season tonight. Selected clashes this weekend will also include Wolves up against Manchester City. United host Arsenal, while Chelsea take on Crystal Palace. Enzo Maresca has discussed if the Blues can challenge for the title this campaign.
When I joined the club 1 year ago, the noise around the club was completely different noise compared to now for many reasons. Now, personally, I always said the same, that for me, I don't like to look in 2 months, in 3 months, in 4 months, because that doesn't exist in football. I like to be focused on tomorrow game in 2 days against Palace. Then in terms of target, my personal target, the target of the team is to try to improve every day. And then we see what's happening.
And in tennis, former world number 6 Matteo Berrettini has withdrawn from the US Open due to an abdominal injury. Brandon Holt will take his place in the main draw of the Grand Slam, which gets underway on August 24th. Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
With Garabo Chali, he'll tell us the latest on the roads. How did the roads look, Garabo?
Well, it is Friday afternoon. Things are usually busier earlier in the day. So, yes, if you're leaving Midrand heading towards Sandton, expect about a 20-minute delay N1 South from Samrand all the way to New Road. Also, if you're leaving Sandton heading towards Midrand, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic already on the M1 northbound. This is between Greyston Drive and the N1 Allendale off-ramp. In the Fourways area, slow-moving traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen and the N1 in the south. Proteas Lane, bumper-to-bumper traffic. N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558. There's also slow-moving traffic due to roadworks in the Naturina Devland area heading into Eldorado Park. That's on the Golden Highway between Chris Hani Road and Union Avenue. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
702 Podcast
on primemediaplus.com.
16 minutes to 4 o'clock, and this is 702. Lovely having you with us. And if you've just joined us, my name is Thabo Shalemashao. I'm in for John, and we're together till 6. The rest of the team is here. And speaking about the rest of the team, Tolagele is right here wearing a lovely soccer jersey. Hey, Tolagele.
Hello, Thabo.
Lovely soccer jersey.
Please tell them what the jersey is today, because Mabani, you threw me under the bus. Please tell them what it is.
Before I tell you that, I must tell you what we're speaking about. Then you'll understand my compliment. Things that you say and you really don't mean.
That makes a lot of sense. The 2 things that you said, one off air and one on air.
Oh my goodness me. I was just priming you for this. So, Tolagele, you those people, and they'd say, you're glowing these days. What's up? What's going on? And they really don't mean it. And people lie like that every day in the office, at work, at church, and people throw around compliments, and others pretend to be, I suppose, hurt by some grieving that you're going through and your situation, but they're really not. They just been polite, or they just, crossing the T's and dotting the I's in life. They're just moving it along. And so we're just asking, is it necessary for people to do that? And are you one of those people who do that? And we've asked our listeners to send their voice notes to 0727021702. But you don't have to send a voice note. You're right here.
I'm a firm believer if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Honestly, that's literally how I navigate, where even if in your head you're going, I'm not sure about that hairstyle or something like that, there's no need for anybody else but you and your inner thoughts to be having that conversation, because people like what they like, and we're all individuals. So let people be happy doing the thing that makes them happy. There's no need for your opinion to also just be added to whatever they want.
So maybe I don't like your hairstyle, but I say, nice hair. Am I being polite or am I lying?
That's up to you to decide. Me, if I like my hairstyle, I'm happy.
I hear you, but it's not about you in this instance. I'm asking literally that the thing when if I say that to you and you see that Thabo doesn't mean this at all, and he's just always saying, oh, nice hair, oh, nice this.
I think it'll just be something that I notch up, where in my head I'm like, this one, he just gives compliments, but I know you don't mean it. I don't know if you've ever watched the movie Mean Girls, where Regina George kind of says, oh, I like your bracelet. And then when the girl walks away, she's like, that's the ugliest thing that I've ever seen. It just becomes something that you notice about someone. Then you know that whatever compliments they give you, you can't take them to heart.
Unfortunately, I don't like terrible movies. I'm kidding.
That is an amazing movie. You are the Regina George of the show, by the way.
Karabo and Drew, and earlier on, you were saying to us that whenever you don't say that to people.
No, I don't. And I can always pick it up when somebody's not being genuine, eh? It's just, and when they say it, that false compliment, I just feel even worse. I feel offended. And I'm like, this guy, do you really have to just lie to me in my face? Just, yeah, you don't have to.
I know, but people are trying to be nice. So let us know on 0727021702 things that you say and you don't mean. And I suppose a great one will win a prize of having a great weekend. Let us know. 011-883-0702. Alternatively, call us on 011-883-0702.
For more about 702,
go to primemediaplus.com.
Well, we'll soon be chatting to Simon Stevens, EFC commentator, about the title Defiance Fight for Dricus du Plessis. Dricus, of course, is with EFC, and he's going against Khamzat Chimaev this weekend, and it's going to be a definitely mind-blowing encounter. A lot of people have been waiting for it. Unlike his two prior title defenses, the build-up to Dricus du Plessis, third title defense against Khamzat Chimaev, have been strictly focused on the action inside the octagon. Are you a fan? And if not, you are missing out. But someone who's definitely going to give us a little bit more of that is EFC and PSL commentator Simon Stevens. Simon, thanks for your time. Welcome to 702.
Thanks, Albert. Good to be with you.
A humdinger of note?
Yeah, great fight. Probably the toughest of Dricus's career. And what makes...
Simon, I lost you for us. I lost you for about 2 seconds. I don't know if you want to go back a little bit.
Yeah, it's exciting because I think he's the toughest fight for Dricus in terms of his title reign, but also comes out to finisher. He likes to get it done very early in the first round. And the question whether he's able to go all five is a big question, because he's never really had his cardio tested. But I think it's just an exciting fight because he's got that mystique of being an undefeated fighter as well. So certainly people are looking at it as Dricus's toughest fight in his career, let alone his title reign. But also Dricus going into the fight as a significant underdog is a big surprise, particularly to South Africans. So it's a great fight. It really is an exciting one.
I'm just wondering, does height matter in this instance? Because Dricus is a little bit shorter than the opponent, and does that put him at a disadvantage of any sorts?
Yeah, it's been interesting, hasn't it? They've been very respectful during media week and the weigh-ins in Chicago all week, and they met backstage a few days ago and were very respectful. And yeah, at the scales at the weigh-ins as well, you're right, the face-offs, you could see. I mean, he's a little bit taller than Dricus, but even for a middleweight, Khamzat Chimaev is looking really big. I mean, middleweight's what, 72.5 kilograms, and he's looking a big middleweight. And he has actually struggled to make weight a few times before. So it remains to be seen when they actually when they hit the scale tonight, what he's going to weigh in at. But height does matter in this sport when knockouts and finishes are valued over the kind of opponents you're facing and the style of fighter that you are. And there's a lot of competing promotions around the world these days. MMA has grown so much, and that's why the UFC value Khamzat Chimaev and why he's fighting Dricus. He's actually not the number one contender, Khamzat Chimaev. It's Nasruddin Imavov is the number one ranked contender in the middleweight division of the UFC. But because he's such an exciting fighter, because he's undefeated, because he likes to finish fights either by submission or knockout in the first round, that's why he's fighting Dricus. It makes complete sense as a fight that you want to sell. So it's the best kind of fight, Tabo. The fight sells itself because of the two that are fighting. They don't need to have smack talk. It's just the kind of fighters they are, always put on great shows, and that's why this fight makes sense from a title defense point of view for Dricus.
I was just about to ask that, Simon, because what takes place inside the ring is obviously exciting, but prior to that, the talk, the taunting also is part of the game. I mean, it happens in boxing and various other sporting codes as well. But in this instance, it appears that they are a little muted with their insults than expected.
Yeah, it is a bit of a surprise, and Dricus always does really well with that. I mean, you go back to some of his previous stuff with Robert Whittaker, and obviously more infamously with Israel Adesanya during his UFC days. But we knew what Dricus was like when he was fighting at KSW, which he went to after the EFC here in South Africa, before he went to the UFC. And he's so good at getting into his opponent's mind, People often talk about Conor McGregor being so good at smack talk. Well, Dricus du Plessis is also really good about it. So this is his third title defense. And I think he deserves the point where he sells fights naturally because he is the champion, and everyone wants a piece of him. Everyone wants to knock him off his perch. And this fight in particular sells itself. And it's kind of nice for a change, don't you think, in MMA and cage fighting, for two guys to be really respectful. And it's if you look at the rest of the card in Chicago, it's actually really not a great card. The other fights, apart from Michael Venom Page, the other fights don't really interest me. But this fight, from a fight fan's pure action point of view, is very, very compelling. So perhaps they don't need to, and it's nice and refreshing for a change for them to be really respectful during the fight week. Yeah,
I suppose the fans also want to see the real action. The talk can come and go, but it's a real action that matters, right, inside the ring to find out what's going on. I wanted to find out a little bit, digressing, but within the sporting code, Simon.
Sure.
It appears that this is a growing sport amongst fanatics. Especially in South Africa, we've taken quite a liking to it. Is it about the sincerity thereof? Is it about perhaps the blunt interaction between two sporting champs and these two amazing that take us back to the Roman days of gladiators? What is it about the sport that makes it grow so much?
Well, if you talk about growing so much here in Africa, I think it's because I think it's competition that's undiluted. It doesn't require you to go to a fancy school and have the best equipment. It doesn't require you to, surround yourself with, the best facilities or the best gyms or the best trainers or the coaches and stuff, which is what goes down to Dricus' story. But a lot of African champs in times gone past have, found their way through combat sports because they grew up through very difficult circumstances, and they didn't learn to fight from, having a good coach or gym. They learned it from fighting out of, either informal settlements or in Brazil, for example, where MMA is also popular. People live in the favelas or the barrios, or from real tough backgrounds and tough childhoods where they had to look after themselves growing up in communities that are, faced with many challenges. And that's the case for a lot of really good African fighters who had to fight their way out of the township. You see so many examples. Look at the brave champion Nick Sawenda. He still lives in Alex, for example, and I don't think he'll ever leave. So it for me, there's no offside, there's no pig's bladders being thrown up a field. It's kind of exciting, it's visceral, it's immediate. It rewards hardship and bravery. We all like an underdog story.
Yes.
So, you can go 3 rounds and being beaten and beaten and beaten, and at the last 10 seconds, you could submit somebody off your back if you have decent wrestling or decent jiu-jitsu. And it's this come-from-behind underdog story that we really like. And it pertains particularly to Africa, for right reasons or wrong. But it's a very satisfying sport to watch when people can rise up and transform themselves by fighting hard and having guts and determination.
4 minutes to 4 o'clock, and I'm speaking to Simon Stevens, EFC and PSL commentator, and this is ahead of a much anticipated encounter, and that would be between Khamzat Chimaev aims to dethrone Dricus du Plessis at UFC 319. And Simon knows more about that than many of us. Before I say goodbye, Simon, what is to be said about the style of two fighters? Because on one end, we do know that Dricus has got a vast experience as several mixed martial arts, and his styles are leaning more towards that. And whilst the opponent, Chimaev, is an expert wrestler, you would think that it's chalk and cheese.
Yeah, actually, stylistically, they match up really well, Tarbo. They both got good spreads of finishes. So, Khamzat Chimaev has an equal amount of submission wins as he does knockouts. And it's very similar to Dricus. And Dricus has twice as many professional fights as Khamzat Chimaev. So that's a really interesting one. I think Khamzat said 7-0. But he had a really good amateur career. We could see, he grew up in Sweden, Khamzat Chimaev. He's actually Chechnyan by birth, but he grew up in Sweden, and now I believe he's an Emirati citizen because he's based in Dubai, and the government there gave him citizenship. But he fought a good friend of mine called Khaled Lalam when in the amateur rankings before, I think it was like 2018, he fought Khaled, and put him to sleep with an anaconda choke in the second round. So you could see at amateurs, he was such a good wrestler. But, Tarbo, people overlook Dricus' wrestling so much. He's such a strong grappler. He's got the farm strength. And the difference is when he gets rocked, you can tag him and you can find his chin on the stand-up and the kickboxing. He always finds a way to win. He digs deep within himself when he's rocked. And he still has the ability to pull out the win when he's really challenged and up against perhaps a technically better fighter. And Dricus comes forward very quickly. He closes the distance so quickly and yet has that real power in his strength. But the Americans have underestimated his wrestling for so long, and I think this camp, and I know that CIT in Pretoria have been drilling the wrestling with Dricus to take on Khamzat Chimaev if Chimaev gets the early takedown in the first round, which is what we expect. And I think this will showcase the fact that Dricus du Plessis is a world-class grappler as well as being a world-class kickboxer.
On that note, we know now where your money is at, Simon. Really, thanks for your time, Simon Stevens, EFC and PSL commentator, 2 to 4.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
If we are generating more power than we need, why do we still have load reduction?
But what's happening is that, like any infrastructure, a very sensitive infrastructure like the grid is designed to hold a certain capacity, to keep it simple. Now, when you exceed that capacity, the grid operator locally will have to extricate those people that are attached.
Professor Vali Padiachi.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
The mighty four-time world champion Springboks are 4 from 4 and counting in 2025. But the invading Wallabies are a sleeping giant back on the rise, hungry to reclaim their place as a rugby superpower, emboldened after their recent win over the British and Irish Lions. Catch South Africa versus Australia in the Castle Lager Rugby Championship live at Ellis Park on Saturday, 16 August. Kickoff is at 5:10. Tickets are still available, but selling out fast. Only from Ticketmaster.
Dear Journal, trying to be an adult day 3731. I'm really struggling to explain my parents to my therapist. Might send him to live with them so he can see for himself. What if he ends up in therapy too? Wait, what if they love him more than me?
Finally learning about mental health. Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's convenient and like 19 Rand a day, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
My friend always says, not my problem, bro. But what if it was your sister, your mother, your daughter? Gender-based violence is everyone's problem. And good men don't look away. If you see abuse, don't be silent. Report it. Call the SA Police on 10111 or the GBVF Command Center on 0800 428 428. Strong men protect. Strong women stand up. Together, we can end gender-based violence and femicide. Break the vicious cycle. Act now. A message from Government Communications, the GCIS.
This is EWN.
IFP wants the national dialogue to answer questions left unanswered by CODESA, and the DA calls for transparency in Gauteng taxi violence talks. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The IFP says the national dialogue must answer questions left unanswered by the CODESA talks, including the issue of land restitution. The party's leadership was in attendance today at the UNISA main campus in Pretoria for the National Dialogue Convention. The convention serves to develop a framework of how the dialogues will be conducted throughout the country over the next few months. Thabiso Koba has more.
During the early 90s, the IFP reluctantly participated in the Convention for a Democratic South Africa, also known as CODESA. The party was unsuccessful in its demands for independent provinces in South Africa and traditional leaders being the custodian of land. IFP leader Velenkosini Hlabisa says the party will be retabling these issues at the National Dialogue.
We know our country is experiencing a high rate of poverty, inequality and unemployment. If you look closely as to the causes of these things, which needs a deep discussion, the issue of land was not properly resolved during CODESA.
On the two GNU parties that have pulled out from participating in the National Dialogue, Hlabisa says the event must go on without them. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
The DA in Gauteng is calling for engagements between taxi operators and e-hailing drivers to be publicized for transparency and the involvement of affected commuters. The call comes after Gauteng Transport MEC Gidiboni Diale Tlhabela announced plans for monthly meetings at Maponya Mall in Soweto between the two groups. The suggestion comes amid tensions as taxi operators are suspected to be behind the attack of e-hailing drivers at the mall in Soweto this week. Jabuli Limbata reports.
The incident that happened on Wednesday claimed the life of one driver and left two others with gunshot wounds. Yesterday, the MEC and industry leaders engaged in a closed meeting and resolved that all parties must work together in all malls in the province. DA Gauteng spokesperson for roads, Nicole van Dijk.
The taxis are our main driver of our economy, getting people to and back from work.
Van Dijk says such violent acts cannot continue to happen while people are meeting behind closed doors. Jabuli Limbata, Eyewitness News.
A senior public works official has quit her job amid a probe into dodgy leases and maintenance contracts. The department made the announcement today, saying it will not be deterred in getting to the root of the rot in one of government's most complex portfolios. Minister Dean McPherson said the Deputy Director General of Real Estate Management Services resigned after being asked to respond to several allegations pending possible suspension. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
The Real Estate Services Division of the Public Works Department manages a multi-billion rand property portfolio and has faced numerous allegations of mismanagement. These include the billion-rand purchase of the Telkom Towers in Pretoria, which was supposed to become the new police headquarters, but instead stands derelict. Minister Dean McPherson says the Deputy Director General, as well as the Chief Director responsible for managing the real estate portfolio, were sent multiple letters to respond to mismanagement allegations while they remained in office. McPherson says all but the last letter was responded to by the DDG, who instead has chosen to resign. McPherson wants a special investigating unit to motivate for a presidential proclamation to investigate irregular leases with private landlords. as well as payment irregularities in respect of emergency day-to-day maintenance of facilities. Nevertheless, he says the investigations into the department's real estate management portfolio will continue. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
The man charged with the 2023 fatal bus accident near Swellendam in the Western Cape is expected to go to trial soon. 5 people were killed and close to 50 others injured when a passenger bus overturned on the N2. It's believed that a 56-year-old man, David Mayman, lost control of the bus and caused it to overturn. Ntutuzelo Nene reports.
David Mayman is facing culpable homicide and reckless driving charges. It's not clear yet how Mayman will plead to these charges. However, his plea and trial date has been set down for the 12th of November this year at the Swellendam Regional Court. 5 parishioners from different Anglican churches in Cape Town died when their bus overturned on the N2 near Swellendam on April 28, 2023. They were on their way home from a spiritual retreat in George at the time of the accident. Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
And US President Donald Trump has left Washington this afternoon, making his way to Alaska. This is where Trump will hold what has been described as a high-stakes summit with his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin. Putin will step onto Western soil for the first time since he ordered the invasion of the Ukraine in 2022. Trump is hoping the talks will pave the way for an end to the fighting. The Russia-Ukraine war has killed tens of thousands of people and left dozens others displaced. Gold is trading at $3,339.84 an ounce. The rand is at 17.54 to the dollar, 23.86 to the pound, 20.57 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $66.61 a barrel.
Midrand, expect about a 20-minute delay heading towards the Sandton area, N1 South between Samrand and New Road. Also leaving Sandton heading towards Midrand in the opposite direction. Traffic heavily backed up. M1 northbound between Grayston Drive and the N1 Allendale off-ramp, and in Protea Glen, you can expect about a 20-minute delay on the N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558.
In your sports, Buan Fenter drafted into the Springbok bench for the Australia Test. Abdeslam Wadu vows to revive the happy people spirit. And Enzo Maresca feeling confident as Chelsea gear up for the new Premier League season.
A partly cloudy start to the day tomorrow with afternoon showers and thundershowers expected. Johannesburg dropping to overnight lows of 8 degrees, peaking at 22. Pretoria 10 and 24, and Vereeniging 5 and 22 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, the IFP says the national dialogue must answer questions left unanswered by the CODESA talks, including the issue of land restitution.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Live
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7.
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Nine minutes after 4 o'clock. Thanks very much for joining us and sticking around with us for over an hour or so. We do have quite a bit to go. The show ends at 6. Thanks for sending your messages through to 072 702 1702. Just coming up a little bit later on, we will have a chat about that very controversial burial controversy around Zambia's ex-president, Edgar Lungu. And we will speak to an expert about that. But we'll also ask, why do former presidents still keep on providing commentary on issues of national importance? Not only that, but playing a central role or seeking to rule from the grave. Metaphorically speaking, of course. We want to know a little bit about that. And of course, a little bit later on at about 20 past 4, we will speak about the additional 10 new buses to Joburg's Rea Vaya bus rapid transit system and the upskilling of young women to work in the industry. You'd remember John Perlman had spoken about this matter regarding Phase 1A of the BRT Joburg routes. And he had mentioned in his interviews that some buses were not in good shape, but it looks as though things are a little bit different now with the new company that has now been given the reins over Phase A. We'll touch on that a little bit later on. And shortly, we'll look at the minister's plans to shake up municipalities. Your contributions are always, always welcome. And earlier on, in case you're wondering, on a lighter note, we were asking things that you say that you really, really don't mean. You say things to people, but you don't mean them. Like, happy birthday to you, and you really don't like this person and you don't wish them a happy birthday, but you said it, right? Things like that. And some ladies would argue things like, I love you, babe, and you really don't mean it. So people are generally mean. Are they mean? Are they liars? Or are they just being polite? I'd love to hear from you. Speaking of which, here are some of your thoughts on that subject of things that you say and don't mean on 072 702 1702.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
How's it, guys? Colin Bifflesdrift, Pretoria. The biggest lie everybody says is when they say, how's it? How are you? Do they really care? I was listening to your show early on, and then I had to stop at one of the shops, and I tried it on one of the salespeople. They came to me, they said, how's it? How are you? I said, not very well. My hemorrhoids are playing up, and I'm not sleeping very well. There's just a pure blank look on the person's face, as in, huh? What? So please, only ask somebody how they're doing if you mean it. Thanks, guys. Awesome show. Cheers.
Thanks.
Hello, Tabo. I never give a compliment I don't mean because I don't want to receive compliments I don't mean. They don't mean to me. And you're an idiot and a horrible presenter, and you are demeaning and bringing down John's show. So please get off it. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean it. Bye.
Yeah, we live and learn. We live and learn. What do I say? 12 minutes after 4 o'clock.
EWN Traffic.
After all, I'm the one who opened the line. I'm the one who opened the lines, right? So I must be able to take what I dish out. Anyway, this Eyewitness News is brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. Mr. Charlie, please mean it and tell us what's really happening on our roads.
Well, I can tell you for sure that in the Midrand area heading towards Sandton, you can expect about a 20-minute delay on the N1 southbound between Samrand and New Road. Also in the opposite direction, leaving Sandton heading towards Midrand, traffic heavily backed up. M1 northbound from Greyston Drive all the way to the N1 Allendale off-ramp in Protea Glen, Soweto. There's now about a 30-minute delay on the N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558 Naturena. Devland area traffic remains sluggish heading into Eldorado Park. This is due to roadworks on the Golden Highway between Chris Hani Road and Union Avenue. In Edenville heading towards Bedford View, there's slow-moving traffic. R24 westbound between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a parent and a nervous but excited kid practicing her lines to put on a show-stopping performance at the school play. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a future superstar on the move. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Velenkosini Hlabisa, plans to create the biggest shake-up of local government in 30 years. Amongst others, his plans include the reduction of a number of municipalities, and I'm wondering if that's something that would tickle your fancy. And he also wants changes in the financial model. You do know that service delivery happens at this level of government, where all of us are directly in contact with government, closer than at any other level. Well, to understand a little bit more about this, Thabiso Ndebele joins us right now, Managing Director, Ndiso Revenue Consulting. Thabiso, thanks for your time. Welcome to 702.
Thank you. Very good afternoon to you and your listeners.
This seems like a proper shake-up. Of course, we need not to have any degree in local governance qualifications to understand that this layer of government has been riddled with serious problems: maladministration, inefficient officials, lack of collection of proper revenue. Need I say more, Thabiso?
Definitely. I think the challenges are there for everyone to see, and I think the shake-up indeed is warranted. But there are a couple of things I think the minister will really be focusing on, as you have mentioned, including the financial model as to how do these municipalities collect revenue. We have over 257 municipalities, of which in the last financial year, 35 were classified to be dysfunctional. And of course, you've got the various states of functionality as you go through them. So having said that, I think it's quite important, and it's something that is warranted.
And in this, does this mean that there would be necessary changes as far as legislation is concerned? I think, if I'm not mistaken, Thabiso will put me right, there was a white paper to this effect in the past.
Correct. Yeah, so we're going to start off with the 1998 white paper, because what it did is it was laying the blueprint as to how municipalities should work, right? We are coming from an apartheid era, and there were certain cities, towns, which didn't have the required services compared to the more modern ones. So you needed some framework as to how do we govern as a local municipality. Lo and behold, 20 plus years in, there are certain things maybe they wouldn't have thought about, and the world has changed. So the very first part, when you start to think about it, is how the municipalities should generate their own revenue, at least 90% plus, from the basic 5 services, electricity, water, sewage, etc. And you're right, where there hasn't been service delivery for one reason or the other, people start withholding their money. And then you start to get into this financial trap. Other areas, which...
No, go ahead. Apologies. Go ahead.
So again, other areas where we have lacked is infrastructure development. We have seen how the infrastructure is dilapidating, and we haven't put enough funding towards that. Again, the controls that the national and the provincial levels would have in local government are very minimal. And again, this is where the minister is saying we need more intervention, especially for failing municipalities. Maybe the last one to add to the mix. Very few people at times would be interested in working for municipalities in rural areas, right? How do we then attract the engineers, the financial accountants, all those professions we need to actually run the municipality like a proper business, and we lack that. So some of the things that he's proposing is around the incentives for some of the technical skills required to run these municipalities more efficiently and effectively.
And others would add, perhaps if we get politicians who are a little bit honest, competent, and willing to truly engage in honest service delivery, things would turn around. But I suppose you can't legislate that, Thabiso. But thanks for your time, Thabiso Ndebele, Managing Director for Ndiso Revenue Consulting. 19 after 4.
702 Podcast
on primemediaplus.com.
Earlier today in Johannesburg, not far away from the city centre, 10 new buses were unveiled. These will form part of Joburg's Rea Vaya bus rapid transit system, and also the upskilling of women in that particular industry. You'd remember John reflected heavily, I think some week or so ago, on phase 1A of the controversial bus rapid transit system, wherein he was saying that some buses were, especially of phase A, were there, not roadworthy and not in operation, to the demise of various passengers. And I'm sure that passengers and commuters who are reliant on the BRT system would be excited to know that there's an addition of 10 new buses. Joining us for this conversation is the CEO of the operating entity of the BRT, Ditsamaiso Pty Limited. Nelson Rekgotso joins us, Chief Executive Officer. Mr. Rekgotso, thanks for your time. Welcome to 702.
For me to be with you, Tabo.
Let's start off first with the fact that now Ditsamaiso will be in charge of phase 1A. For commuters in and around Johannesburg who are not necessarily familiar with such jargon of phase 1A, what does that mean, and when do you start becoming in charge of that phase?
Thank you so much, Tabo. I think Ditsamaiso has obviously been operating phase 1B of Rea Vaya services, and in most cases, all the challenges that have been experienced around Rea Vaya, they're mainly related to phase 1A, not 1B. And it's been 10 years of operation, and the city of Johannesburg has therefore rewarded us with another contract to run phase 1A, which means that we have ordered new buses, over 143 buses at a value of 1.3 billion. And we expect that operation to commence in earnest first week of February 2026.
This is a sizable number. Does this mean that the lives of commuters will change?
Definitely, Tabo, because these are going to be new world-class buses of European standards. They're the buses that you find in most European cities. We are going to bring those buses here, and with high level of maintenance and care for those buses, because we expect them to run for at least 7 years. We expect Rea Vaya to be operating optimally next year.
Mr. Rekgotso, one of your drivers was shot dead earlier, and I say that with a heavy heart on the backdrop of what took place a day or two ago in Soweto, where an e-hailing driver was shot dead, allegedly by some taxi drivers. And in the instance of one of your drivers as well, the very same allegations were made that it was someone from the taxi industry. This must just be heavy on operating like this, and it begs the question, the conflicts between various industries, are they yet to be resolved adequately, and what does it mean in your business?
Look, we've actually been operating Rea Vaya very well until we had challenges around phase 1A, and there was that gap that was left by the poor operations of 1A, and as a result, the taxi industry took over some of those routes, and when new buses were brought in to run those services again, obviously some of our drivers were targeted, and we happened to lose a driver early this year. And we, as part of honoring his legacy, we actually purchased the bus and named it after him. So this bus will carry his legacy forever, and we expect it to be in our fleet for the next 7 to 12 years. So it is a very sad situation. In fact, what happened a day ago in Maponya Mall actually, made us so that there's still a lot of work that we need to do, especially us that are in the public transport sector, to make sure that we take along everybody on board. in this transformation journey.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of transformation does not only refer to color, but it also speaks to gender in various other categories. It's Women's Month, and we know that your industry is a male-dominated industry. Any work around women to at least also get to participate, although it's not a usual sight to see female bus drivers, but surely you need to change that somehow.
Look, this Ames is going to be one of the biggest bus companies in Africa, not only in South Africa. So we have a responsibility to empower each and every employee, but our key focus is also to empower women, to make them be part of this industry. And we run various programs to make sure that we address issues around women empowerment, have less or most, what we desire for is to have equal number of female and male workers. So we run an apprenticeship every year that takes young women between the age of 20 to 35, that we train them to become bus drivers, to become mechanics, and also those that are graduates to work in areas of finance, human resource, and law, because we don't only just run buses. It's a business that covers each and every aspect: the law, labor relations, human resources, as well as finance, and also bus operations. So we are making sure that we uplift women across every part of our business. So we've got those programs in place. Yeah.
I shudder to say this, but I mean, there has been various controversies around. Perhaps you'd argue that it was 1A that was put under business rescue, but this model is riddled with difficulties. It's not a very straightforward model. To some of your commuters who are somehow now disgruntled and thinking, oh, wow, it's just a matter of time until we hear about another business rescue in this instance as well.
Not at all. Not in our case, Thabo. We have actually, since we started running this business over 10 years ago, we started making sure that we reinvest in our buses, because if you do not have enough buses, you're not going to be able to run the service. So between 2022 and 2025, we have invested over 250 million buying new buses. The buses that you see on the road, the big buses are so expensive. And if you do not reinvest on those things, you are not going to be able to be in this business for long. So we do not foresee any business rescue here. We are supported by banks. We are supported by the Development Bank of South Africa. We're also supported by banks like Standard Bank. So those are our partners. They understand that we know the business. We put in a strong management plan, as well as strong management team led by an independent board to make sure that what has happened in other areas does not happen. In fact, we're the only bus BRT company that has reinvested so much in its business. So you can go to Cape Town, you can go anywhere else, you won't find what we have done here in Johannesburg.
I really appreciate your time. Nelson Rekgotso, Chief Executive Officer of Ditsamaiso Pty Ltd, 28 minutes after 4.
EWN Business.
Live from Cape Town with the SG of Broadcasting in South Africa, Stephen Grootes. What's the latest?
Good afternoon to you, Thabo. Nice to be here. There, somewhere. The JSE All share kind of flat on the day, down 0.03%, was lower earlier, so it's recovering a little bit, I think. Financials up 0.34%, industrials up 0.17%. Resources down on the day again, but that's really because of weaker gold prices, kind of what you would expect to see in this market at the moment. Sibanye-Stillwater, their shares down quite dramatically today. They're down nearly 4.5%. And the reason for that, one of the reasons, is that it does expect to make a loss it says. So it will actually have earnings per share of over 100% higher for the first half of the year, but it'll still make a loss. And the main reason, it says, is, well, there are lower platinum prices, obviously, but there also is a complicated situation emerging in the US. The one big beautiful bill that was signed into law by President Trump has changed the way credits are given for critical minerals. That's reduced the value of the credits that it was expecting to get, and that has caused some problems for them. Nedbank confirming today it's found a buyer for its 21% stake in EcoBank. It's selling the stake to Bosquare Investments. That's owned by the former chair of EcoBank, Elaine Conchal. Nedbank's already told us, Tabo, what it's doing with the money. It's buying the payment platform iKhokha in a deal with 1.65 billion rand. The Premier Group up over 4.5% today. Anglo up 2.4%. Telkom up 2.2%. And Glencore up 2%. While Standard Bank, off the back of those results yesterday, up 1.66% on the day. And Nedbank are down 1.29%, while We Buy Cars is down 1 2/3%. I should mention, by the way, the Competition Tribunal saying that the Zahid Consortium can buy the industrial equipment dealer Barlow World. There are some conditions attached. The group, led by Barlow World's current CEO Dominic Sewela, wants to buy out shareholders and delist from the JSE. They want to do it all by the end of next month. Tabo, I'm sure you will remember the company Murray and Roberts.
Certainly.
Yeah, they're a construction company, and we know that they've been sort of going to be liquidated for a long time. And it's such a sad ending to a sad chapter, because they had to have a meeting of shareholders to close the company down for a vote. They couldn't get a quorum for the first time. They had another one. They couldn't get a quorum for the second time. It's like no one coming to your funeral. So in the end, what happened today is that one of the creditors went to court to liquidate it, and they didn't oppose the liquidation. I think one of the creditors was, sort of asked to basically put it out of its misery. A sad end, I think, where in the end, someone has to go to court basically to liquidate you. I mean, very sad way for that to end. Global stocks trading near record highs in most markets. That's ahead of the summit between Trump and the Russian President Vladimir Putin. It's in Alaska. Meanwhile, the US has started at record highs today. United Health, their shares jumped. Berkshire Hathaway raised their stake. There are also, of course, expectations of an interest rate cut there. They've turned a little bit now. Now the Dow Jones is up 0.19, but the Nasdaq is down 0.2, and the S&P 500 is down 0.13. The gold price at the moment, as that meeting sort of gets going in Alaska, is currently $3,339.48 an ounce. Platinum, $1,335.40. Brent crude, $66.12. And the rand to the dollar getting stronger all week, 17.57 to the dollar, 20.59 to the euro, 23.85 to the British pound. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
With Mbali Dlamini, the very latest on Eyewitness News headlines. Mbali, hi, good afternoon. What's the latest?
Thanks, Tabo. Good afternoon. Former State Security Minister Bongani Bongo was back in the dock in the Western Cape High Court today for the restart of his corruption trial. The trial is related to Parliament's 2017 Eskom inquiry. Bongo was acquitted by the same court in 2021 after applying for a discharge following evidence that he allegedly attempted to bribe a parliamentary official to squash the inquiry. But the Supreme Court of Appeal overturned that decision last year. Today, legal teams agreed that the trial will start afresh in April next year. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
It's been almost 8 years since Bongani Bongo is alleged to have tried to meet with evidence leader in Parliament's Eskom inquiry, Ntutuzelo Vanara, and to offer him an unspecified amount of money to derail the inquiry. After parliamentary witnesses testified for 2 weeks, former Judge President John Hlophe granted Bongo a dismissal for lack of evidence from the state. Bongo made a brief appearance in court today to finalize dates for a new trial. He's the only person to face prosecution in relation to Parliament's Eskom inquiry. His lawyer, J.C. de Jager, told EWN he believes there will eventually be a fair outcome to this case.
We are confident in our defense to these charges, as we were the first time around.
The state says it expects the matter to conclude within 6 weeks from the 13th of April 2026, but Judge Noluthando Nzweni said the court should not bind itself to a fixed duration. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Western Cape High Court.
Let's stay in the courts but move to the Eastern Cape now. The Lusikisiki massacre trial has adjourned until next week. 6 men linked to the mass murder face charges of conspiracy to commit murder, 18 counts of murder, as well as the possession of firearms and ammunition. They're accused of murdering 18 people in Ngobozana village in Lusikisiki. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
The third week of the Lusikisiki massacre trial has now concluded. Today, relatives of some of the victims were called to testify in the trial. There are rather short testimonies focused on the identification of the deceased bodies hours after the gruesome incident. The father of one of the victims shared the experience of having to identify the body of his only daughter just months after he had buried his son. Another witness detailed the harrowing task of identifying 6 of his relatives, including his 2 aunts and cousins. State Prosecutor Nkululeko Mathenjwa then asked that the matter be adjourned to next week Tuesday to allow for new witnesses to be called. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Lusikisiki, in the Eastern Cape.
And in the Western Cape, the academic program continued without interference in Lotus River today after a shooting incident yesterday afternoon. Police have been patrolling the area since yesterday and they escorted learners to school today. It follows a shooting near a Lotus River primary school yesterday afternoon, which resulted in parents frantically pulling their children out of school. A warning sent to a community on WhatsApp groups had then informed the parents of possible retaliatory attacks near the school. CPF chairperson in Grassy Park, Nicole Jacobus.
These shootings are seasonal, and when I say seasonal, it's shooting now, then it dies out, and then they start shooting again. At this present moment, in any area of shooting, it's a concern for our communities. It's a concern for us as residents, as we don't know when the shooting will take place, and it can happen at any point, at any time.
In your weather, a partly cloudy start to the day tomorrow with afternoon showers and thundershowers expected. Lows of between 5 and 10 degrees and highs of between 22 and 24.
In the city of Tshwane, expect some delays in the Midland area heading towards Centurion. That's the N1 southbound between Linwood Road and the R21 Flying Saucer interchange, while in Irene, bumper-to-bumper traffic approaching the intersection of Namapius Drive and Main Road, and in Centurion we have traffic pressure. This is on Lenshin Avenue between John Foster and the N14.
The top story in EWN, former State Security Minister Bongani Bongo was back in the dock in the Western Cape High Court today for the restart of his corruption trial.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
An e-hailing service driver met his death as he dropped off a passenger at Maponya Mall in what's believed to be part of a long-running feud between e-hailing drivers and local taxi operators. It happens, they've sent the message, and it does appear as if you're scared to do anything about it as this government.
We're really not scared of them. The taxi industry must understand that we are in a democratic country, and that's why we believe that we must bring all parties on the table.
MEC for Roads and Transport in Gauteng, Kiribone Diale Habele.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Spar is turning up the value this week. Get ready for deals so good, they'll have you heading straight to your nearest Spar or Super Spar, because nothing says local love like stocking up and saving on essentials. From today until Sunday, Spar is dropping a massive Parmalat Everfresh UHT milk that's perfect for your pantry and your budget. Grab any 2 6-packs on special and keep those cereal bowls filled morning after morning. Stock up with up to 5 deals. That's 10 6-packs per customer. Deal excludes lactose-free variant and is only available at participating Spar and Super Spar stores in Jozi. Spar brings you fresh and convenient deals straight from the heart of your neighborhood and community.
To live wealthier, you need to be able to grow your assets. At Standard Bank Private, you get a team of internationally acclaimed financial experts to advise you on local and global investment strategies. Plus, being with a leader in home loans, you can start expanding your property portfolio. So, come live wealthier with Africa's best private bank. Apply online at standardbank.co.za. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Dreaming of your next getaway? Whether it's a sun-soaked beach escape, adventure-packed tour, or luxury cruise, Flight Centre is your go-to for travel. From flights and hotels to tours and cruises, we've got it all. Plus travel insurance for peace of mind. If you want the best deals, you can save more by taking advantage of our Bundle Plus Save offer. Plan your trip today at your nearest Flight Centre store or visit flightcentre.co.za. Flight Centre, your centre for travel.
When your internet connection fails, does it really matter how fast it is? Business class internet is built for businesses. With remote monitoring, that means faster problem resolution and a backup LTE connection that keeps you online. Your company deserves business class internet because just reboot the router isn't a business strategy. Find reliability at vodacombusiness.co.za. Together, let's build the extraordinary. Further together. Vodacom Business.
702 was in conversation with Wits University's Professor Andrew Forbes, unpacking how quantum science has the potential to shape South Africa's next wave of innovation and global competitiveness.
The technology we have today, digital technology, digital economy, how important is that to what we do in South Africa? It's essential, right? And what we have now is we're entering a second revolution with a quantum technology roadmap. The idea is that we're harnessing science that's been around for 100 years, but it's science that now we can put down into practical technologies, things that will help us compute faster.
702 in conversation with Wits University. Visit wits.ac.za to learn more.
EWN Sport.
With the great Tolagele Mganga. Tolagele, what's the latest in the world of sports?
While Thabo Miguel Cardoso says the past doesn't matter as Mamelodi Sundowns set their sights on a first domestic cup since 2022. They'll take on Orlando Pirates in the first leg of the MTN 8 semi-final tomorrow, and the Brazilians will be out to win a first top 8 game against the Buccaneers since 2007.
Last season, in the Champions League, Mamelodi Sundowns knocked out both finalists from the previous season. Curiously, one of them was me. Since I arrived in Sundowns, I cannot really speak about that. And I don't want to remember no one about what happened in the semi-final of the Nedbank Cup last year. So, let's see. Let the best win, and I hope the best will be Mamelodi Sundowns. That's what I expect.
The other semi-final will see Stellenbosch hosting Sekhukhune United at the Dani Craven Stadium. And with the board backing him with several sales during the transfer window, Eric Tinkler admits there is pressure on him to deliver success this season.
We were very busy over the off-season to ensure that we could bring in players of the caliber required to ensure that Sekhukhune finish in the top 4. Our objective, our aim is to try and finish in the top 3. The chairman has a long-term project for the club and a long-term vision. The chairman is obviously entrusted in me to try and bring success to Sekhukhune United, and that's going to be my purpose and my objective.
Louis Rees-Zammit has signed for Bristol Bears for the 2025-26 season as he returns to rugby union after 18 months in American football. He joined the Kansas City Chiefs in March last year but was left off their roster for the 2024 campaign. As for the Rugby Championship, Captain Scott Barrett returns from injury to lead the All Blacks against Argentina in their opening clash. The Lark has recovered from a calf injury and is one of 9 changes to the team that finished the series against France in July. For South Africa, they'll open their campaign against Australia at Ellis Park tomorrow. Centre Andre Esterhuizen has shared what he's expecting from the Wallabies.
If you look at the last 2 tests, how they played and how they've gotten better and how physical they were in the last 2 tests, we obviously expect a physical battle this weekend. I think anytime any team plays against Springboks, that's probably the first thing they focus on, is to meet us with physicality. So yeah, definitely expecting that.
Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by cars.co.za. Let's find what moves you. How's the movement on the road? How does the traffic look? And how do the roads look? Busy, moderate, or just okay? Karabo Charlie?
Pretty busy, not looking good in the city of Tshwane at this stage in the mainland area. You can expect delays N1 southbound. This is heading towards Centurion between Linwood Road and the R21 Flying Saucer interchange. In Irene, also bumper-to-bumper traffic approaching the intersection of Nalmapius Drive and Main Road. Still in Pretoria, Centurion traffic pressure on Lenchen Avenue between John Foster and the N14. Midrand, expect about a 20-minute delay heading towards Sandton. N1 South from Samrand all the way to New Road. Also leaving Sandton, heading towards Midrand. Traffic heavily backed up. M1 North from Grayston Drive all the way to the N1 Allendale off-ramp. In the south, Protea Lane, expect about a 20-minute delay on the N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558 Naturina. In the Naturina Devland area, we still have slow-moving traffic due to roadworks on the Golden Highway. This is between Chris Hani Road and Union Avenue. And in Ekurhuleni, Edenvale, slow-moving traffic on the R24 westbound. This is heading towards Bedford View between Edenvale Road and the Gilulis interchange. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Hey, Jim, what's wrong? Hi, Bob. I'm just so confused. I'm trying to buy a car, and I don't know where to stop. Well, have you tried to... Cars.coza. Have you tried to... Cars.coza. Sorry, we're trying to do an advert.
Whatever car you want to buy or sell, cut through the and just go to cars.coza and let's find what moves you. Cars.coza.
702 Podcast
on primemediaplus.com.
15 minutes to 5 o'clock, 7:02. Thabo Shalamashao in for John Perlman. We're together till 6. And not much later on, in a short while, we'll be speaking to Randall because it's tradition on the show to speak to Randall every Friday about his one song. But before we get to that, Tolagele is in the studio, and she's in the studio for good reason. And so is Karabo Charlie. Guys, I wanted to find out from you. Your partner, your loved one, are you comfortable with them calling you every second of the day? What is the right dose or dosage of calls that you should get, or check-ins that you should get from your loved one? Do you want them to call you every other time, or do they do that and then, hey, Karabo, I hope you're okay, babe. How's everything? How's work? And then an hour later, hey, Karabo, how's your lunch? How's work? Or it could be that you are that person who's calling every other hour and you are getting in touch with a partner. Is that something that you like? Is it something that you do? I find it extremely irritating. I don't want any of that. I mean, I just want silence throughout the day. Karabo?
And really, I think I'm that guy. I remember when we started dating with my partner right now, I used to call like every hour. And now, after many, many years, she was like, you used to irritate me when you called me every second hour. I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough. But obviously, as the years go, the frequency of calling kind of drops. But I don't remember ever going through a day without communicating with her. Even if maybe we had a fight, definitely.
At work?
Even if we had a fight, I left home, I'm like, oh, ish, I won. But then during the day, I'll just call her and say, hey, Okrand, even though you could feel the tension in the phone call, but then just that consistency.
Okay, in a day, I mean, take today. How many times did you speak to your partner?
We've been dating for 13 years. I call at least once a day.
No, 13 years. Thank you so much. Congratulations. We are all happy for you. He's going on about 13 years. Okay. We've got the 13 years. I'm saying today. Today, Friday the 15th today. How many times? Once.
But we communicate via WhatsApp.
How long ago had you left home since you received a call or made a call?
I did it at about 1 o'clock. I left home at 6 in the morning. So
and then at about 1, you got in touch.
I was like,
Tolagele, you?
Calling.
Or being called.
Being called, yeah, I'm definitely. I'm not someone that naturally calls.
Yeah.
I like an end of the day call.
Yes.
Throughout the day, we can be like texting the good morning, like funny conversations throughout, updates about the day, and then just to wrap up the day and how things have gone.
Yeah.
I love me a long hour-long phone call
Yeah.
where we're just chatting about any and anything. It's my favorite thing.
But not 5 times a day.
Only because now my schedule is weird. Because
Yes.
like for a lot of people around this time is when they're leaving.
Yes.
So if we phone around this time, all of your calls are just gonna go
Yeah.
get rejected because I'm just walking around the building on air and all of those things.
Yeah.
And that would be irritating for the person that's trying to get hold of me. That's why after 7 best time
But
have
ideally,
conversations.
if things were all equal, would you appreciate being called every 2 minutes in a day?
Not 2 minutes, like 2 phone calls a day is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it the right dosage? Twice, 4 times a day? Garabo?
is a lot, eh?
Twice a day.
4 is a lot.
Yeah, like good morning, good night.
You such weaklings. Why do you need calls from your loved ones? Guys, what is this? Kindergarten? Is this crèche?
Don't you
just
like
want
the thought of
no.
someone that's thinking of you calling you?
Well, good. They keep the thoughts to yourself. Don't
Oh.
call every day. Not every day. Well, I mean every minute, guys. But isn't that? I mean, a
No.
distraction
We
throughout
love
the
the
day.
attention.
Really?
Yeah, from
Oh,
your
yeah,
partner,
but you look like
definitely.
someone who loves attention.
I love attention from my partner.
No, I'd love to hear from you. Perhaps you're listening to us right now. The only attention I want is from you to send your voice notes, your text messages, and your calls. Your voice notes, send them to 072 702 1702. How many times should your partner call you in a day? And how many times do you call them in a day? Or do you just go through a dry spell of no calls whatsoever in a day and you catch up with them in the evening? What is the right amount, the appropriate quantity of calls, of check-ins that make you feel loved or that you make to your loved ones? Please share with us. Let us know on 072 702 1702. I look forward to those voice notes. 10 to 5.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
702 indeed. And every Friday around about this time, John speaks to Randall Abrams. And Randall is, of course, he needs no introduction. He's a guru as far as music is concerned. And he's literally CV speaks for itself. But Randall joins us right now. Randall, hi. Always great chatting to you, especially on a Friday such as this one. I hope you're good.
Very good. Yourself?
I'm chilled. Thanks very much. Randall, I usually approach these interviews as a blank canvas. I tell the producers I don't want to know anything, especially about the music, because it's always great when I hear it for the first time from you. I also avoid looking at the songs that you'll be talking about. What's on the menu today?
So what's on the menu today is hip-hop music from Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
And the reason is I read a very good review of an album by this particular artist called Two Pulls, featuring Grey D and Mono. I'm going to probably get this pronunciation wrong. I did try my best to listen to the tracks. I listened to the album, and then obviously I tried to find someone introducing it somewhere in Vietnamese, but I couldn't find that. So the track is called Sac Ning. And the reason for it is that, as I say, I read a review that obviously the person knew a lot about Vietnamese rap music, and it kind of likened it to the work that Kendrick Lamar is doing. And then I did a little bit of reading, and it seems as though there's been quite a growth of overground rather than underground exposure of rap music in Vietnam.
Oh.
It seems to have been quite frowned upon. The music that was big there, singing in Vietnamese was quite influenced by both R&B and pop. And there was a sense that kind of the same sense that people had of rap music in the 80s, right? That it was quite destructive and, only sang about quite profane subjects.
Yeah.
But in fact, seems to be quite a form of self-expression for young people. And it's been driven by a Vietnamese reality-first rap show called Rap Viet, which you can, in fact, find on episodes of which you can find on YouTube, and has proved very, very successful on television over there. It's like an Idol, but obviously, the performers only perform hip hop inspired music. And I just thought, it reminded me to a degree of the growth of Kwaito music in South Africa, which was also, inspired by lots of local genres, but also by American hip hop. And also the reaction that came with the growth of Kwaito music in the 90s, right?
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
lots of negativity from the establishment, as it were. So I thought it was quite interesting to see just how influential, hip hop music has been and how it's been utilized as a carrier to take different influences from all around the world.
Yeah, and speaking of influences, are you deducing some strong elements of influence from the US, especially given that to a large extent, various hip hop artists throughout the world find inspiration from the Mecca, so to speak, of hip hop, being the US?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, a lot of the beats and that sort of thing, but obviously the language is, indigenous to Vietnam, and a lot of kind of the sounds that you'll use and what people are sampling are not necessarily from the US. They're from Vietnamese, older Vietnamese music.
Introduce the tune, Randall. It's your turn.
It's called Sat Ning. Please go and check it out on one of the streaming platforms or on YouTube. It's by Two Pulls featuring Mono and Grey D.
4 minutes to 5 o'clock, Randall's tune this afternoon here on 702. Every Friday, Randall gets to give us something to think about in his musical catalog, or library, I should say. Randall, Two Pills, you said?
Yes.
Yeah. The name also very interesting. And how do they rank? Do we even know in their country, within their circles? Are they top of the charts? Are they well regarded in Vietnam?
Very well regarded. There've been 2 EPs out previously. This is kind of the first, I call it, full-length album. And I think that there are 1 or 2 artists that I read about. One called Du Quai, who are kind of like the mainstays.
Yeah.
But just so many artists kind of coming up at the moment, it would seem. And Two Pulls kind of seen as like the next generation of hip hop, as it were. So it didn't come out of the TV show, it didn't come out of Rap Yet.
Yeah.
But as I say, you can imagine with a television show that's generating, let's say 10 artists, 1 winner, and 10 artists a year, and then all these other artists.
Yes.
It's become quite an influential genre over there.
Fantastic. I mean, and I suppose we can get it anywhere as far as musical platforms are concerned.
Well, that's the thing, I keep saying, I said to you a while ago, I was saying to John that, I believe Tyler would make it very, very big in the Far East, and obviously she hooked up with Lisa, and that track was absolutely massive, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, you can almost hear kind of quite a pop influence in this track, And you can imagine that, again, someone like a Tyler would be able to do some sort of collaboration, with an artist in Vietnam. Even a WizKid may be in a position to do some sort of collaboration with an artist over there. And I think that's just amazing.
Fantastic. Thanks a million, Rendell. Have a lovely weekend. Let's chat again next week. Rendell Abrams, Rendell's One Song, 2 minutes to 5.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebohile Maboja. 1 to 3 p.m.
Are you those people that are fully inspired by what you went through? Or are you a person who can literally imagine scenarios and write for a person going through that?
For me, I must say, I generally tend to write from feeling. So from personal emotion that is very personal to me. I have written for other people based on their situations and circumstances. And also I tend to write to comfort other people. So I pick up on other people's stories and I like to kind of be there for them with my music. I do not often write typical love songs.
Singer-songwriter Phil Higgins.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebohile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
This Saturday, Siya Kolisi will lead the Springboks against the dangerous Australians at Ellis Park. Kickoff is at 5:10 p.m. and tickets are only available from Ticketmaster's website or app. Various transport options include Park and Ride SA buses from various departure points, Gautrain and Prasa Rail service. Private coaches can park at Park Station, Road Trip, Eastgate and St. John's shuttle service, and private taxis are also available. Please visit lionsrugby.co.za for detailed information on the various available transport services, rates and operating times.
Life's full of moments that need the right support, whether it's a dream vacation, everyday expenses, or surprise costs. So give yourself some credit with a Visa FNB credit card, a life resource that gives you e-bucks, travel perks, interest-free periods, and more. Apply for a Visa FNB credit card online or visit your nearest branch today. Help changes everything. T's, C's, and earn rules apply. Credit is subject to meeting the qualifying criteria. FNB is a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
Oh, Shane, do you have a sore throat? The Andalex range of lozenges offers two options. At the first signs of an irritated, scratchy throat, use Andalex lozenges for dual-action, soothing relief. But for a painful, inflamed throat, use Andalex C lozenges for triple-action, pain relief. Andalex, SA's #1 choice for a sore mouth and throat. Andalex lozenges are available at all leading pharmacies and supermarkets.
Just Andalex it.
More weekend wins are on the way. The Hollywood Bets Weekend Bonus Bonanza puts you in line to secure a sensational share of 400,000 Rand in exhilarating bonus bets. Gear up to go on an exciting adventure packed with more booming weekends when you log in and bet 2 Rand or more on selected Pragmatic Play, Playtech, and Habanero slots. Blazing bonus bounties await, so make sure you log in and bet now.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Every Thursday on 702 Breakfast, Old Mutual Corporate tackles the tough questions around South Africa's retirement crisis and how to change the future we're heading toward within the world of work.
The resignation rate, particularly amongst younger people, is high. There's a couple of things that we believe is driving this, Bongani. I think one, financial stress is very, very high. We look at that very same report. Salaries in terms of increase on average, not really been in the same rate as the cost of living. So quite a number of workforce, in fact about 45% of the workforce is under a lot of pressure from a financial perspective.
The Old Mutual Thought Leaders Forum, Thursdays between 6 and 9 a.m. Brought to you by Old Mutual Corporate on 702.
This is EWN.
Government is working to reduce the cost of the national dialogue, and plastic pollution talks hit another snag. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. In an effort to bring down the cost of the national dialogue, government says it will be using its own facilities to host the events. The national dialogues will be spread out over 9 months, with organisers crisscrossing the country engaging ordinary South Africans. The entire process was initially estimated to cost more than 700 million rand, leading to critics calling it an expensive talk shop. Speaking at the National Dialogue Convention in Pretoria today, President Cyril Ramaphosa says he could not allow for the event to cost that much.
The University of South Africa, the Vice Chancellor, the good professor, immediately said, you know what, to cut off all those costs, we'll give you this beautiful venue for free. And now we got it for free. Now, that is exactly what we are going to seek to do. We will be going around the country. We will desist from hiring expensive halls in hotels and so on.
The family of an Uber driver who was killed in an attack outside Maponya Mall on Wednesday is frustrated that they have not heard from police investigators. Zanele Kuzwayo is the aunt of 27-year-old Mthokozi Simvelase, who was on duty when he was attacked. During the incident, a second car was shot at, but that driver managed to flee before his vehicle was torched. Kuzwayo says she thinks her nephew's attack may be related to taxi feud that remains unconfirmed by investigators.
Telling us that they don't want to speculate, they're going to communicate with us. That's all we're getting. He was already in ashes when we came. So that's why the first thing we did, we went to the police station hoping that they're going to give us some clarity. And then they said, nope, it's still very new.
She says the family back in KwaZulu-Natal is anxiously waiting for feedback.
You're supposed to, have first-hand information we're expecting so that I can be able to report back home. Like I said, I'm the only aunt here in Joburg.
To this now, DA Tshwane mayoral candidate Celia Brink has refuted claims that he overlooked service delivery in townships during his time as mayor. Brink served in the position for 18 months before being ousted through a no-confidence motion in September last year. His return bid was confirmed today when DA leader John Steenhuisen named him as the party's mayoral candidate for next year's local government elections. Brink says if elected, his administration will prioritise service delivery across all parts of the city.
As soon as I was elected, I made a point of going to townships first, going to places where the DA didn't necessarily win a majority before, to show that we are a government for all of the people. You can look at the capital budget of the city, which hasn't changed much since we were removed from power. That capital budget, the majority, was spent in townships, not in suburbs.
A senior public works official has quit her job amid a probe into dodgy leases and maintenance contracts. Minister Dean McPherson said the Deputy Director General of Real Estate Management Services resigned after being asked to respond to several allegations pending possible suspension. The department made the announcement today, saying it won't be deterred in getting to the bottom of the rot in one of government's most complex portfolios. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
The Real Estate Services Division of the Public Works Department manages a multi-billion rand property portfolio and has faced numerous allegations of mismanagement. These include the billion-rand purchase of the Telkom Towers in Pretoria, which was supposed to become the new police headquarters, but instead stands derelict. Minister Dean McPherson says the Deputy Director General, as well as the Chief Director responsible for managing the real estate portfolio, were sent multiple letters to respond to mismanagement allegations while they remained in office. McPherson says all but the last letter was responded to by the DDG, who instead has chosen to resign. McPherson wants a special investigating unit to motivate for a presidential proclamation to investigate irregular leases with private landlords, as well as payment irregularities in respect of emergency day-to-day maintenance of facilities. Nevertheless, he says the investigations into the department's real estate management portfolio will continue. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
And the sixth round of global talks to come up with a landmark treaty to end plastic pollution have failed. This round of UN negotiations was due to end yesterday after leaders failed to meet last December's deadline to get the deal over the line. But countries continued to negotiate into the night in the hopes of breaking a deadlock. There remained a split between a group of about 100 nations calling for curbs on production of plastic and oil states who are pushing for a focus on recycling. recycling. The talks were convened in 2022 in response to the mounting scientific evidence of the risk of plastic pollution to human health as well as the environment. Gold is trading at $3,339.84 an ounce. The rand is at 17.54 to the dollar, 23.86 to the pound, 20.51 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $66.63 a barrel.
Mainland heading towards Centurion, we still have slow-moving traffic. This is N1 southbound between Linwood Road and the R21 Flying Saucer interchange. There's also bumper-to-bumper traffic in the Irene area. This is approaching the intersection of Mapias Drive and Main Road, and in Centurion, traffic pressure on Lenshin Avenue between John Foster and the N14.
In your sports, Buan Fenter drafted into the Springbok bench for the Australia Test. Abdeslam Wadu vows to revive the happy people spirit. And Enzo Maresca feeling confident as Chelsea gear up for the new Premier League season.
A partly cloudy start to the day tomorrow with afternoon showers and thundershowers expected. Johannesburg dropping to overnight lows of 8 degrees, peaking at 22. Pretoria 10 and 24, and Vereeniging 5 and 22 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. In an effort to bring down the cost of the national dialogue, government says it will be using its own facilities to host the events.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Live
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
9 minutes after 5 o'clock. Welcome back, 702. If you've just joined us, where have you been? You've missed out on so much, but don't despair. There's more coming through. Speaking about more coming through, in a short while we'll speak to political analyst Lukhona Mnguni. We want to explore this, well, I don't think it's latest, but this phenomenon of ruling from the grave by former presidents. They have been, appropriately or otherwise, involving themselves in narratives that are mainstream in our current affairs. Former President Thabo Mbeki, former President Jacob Zuma, and they have been very vocal, and it's as though they never left. Is that okay? Or is it really undermining the incumbent? Would they have preferred the same to have happened when they were in power? Well, there are some stories, and I'm sure Lukhona would remember the story of how a certain former president was not very pleased with the late former President Nelson Mandela attending the NEC meetings in his ex-officio capacity. And the gossips that went out of the corridors of Luthula House were very, very loud about that. 011-883-0702. And your voice notes, please keep them coming through as well. Earlier on, we spoke about how many times would you like your partner to get in touch with you via the phone? And how many times do you get in touch with your partner? How many times do you call them? How do you keep tabs on them? And just regular check-ins. How many times is appropriate for you to just say, hey, babe, how you doing? Well, for some of us, 0 is better. But for others, the more, the merrier. 011-883-0702.
702.
WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Thabo. So the ideal amount of time to hear from a romantic partner would be about twice a day, which is the frequency that I'm used to and what I find feels sufficient for me specifically. So once in the morning, once at night, if we're not seeing each other, and then chatting as necessary throughout the day. With my mom, absolutely once a day at the end of the day, and then whatever else needs to happen. So if something else comes up outside of our usual speaking time, obviously we're going to chat. But weirdly enough, with my baby sister, we only speak to each other when we need to, even though we're quite close. It's not an everyday thing, and sometimes we can go days without even speaking, and it's not a problem. So yeah, I guess it depends on the relationship.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, 702 family. So my husband and I, we can go the whole day without talking. Yeah, we just say our goodbyes in the morning, and then in the evening when you come back, But then sometimes he does call me and just say, "Horoyo, I haven't spoken to you the whole day. Just thought I would check how you're doing and all." So, but in the beginning, I expected calls, like frequent calls. But now things have changed. Yeah, but the love is still there. Anonymous in Centurion.
Tabo, good afternoon. I think we messing it up by regularizing it. Put in times, put in the frequencies. Let's just put it as simple as as and when I miss you,
Yeah.
or as and when she misses me. Then it's fine. That's comfortable. The minute we regularize it, it means there has to be level of consistency, and we know we're lacking in the department. Joseph Mosley.
Well, let us know. 072 702 1702, 13 minutes after 5.
EWN Traffic.
This Eyewitness News traffic is brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. Garabo, what's the latest?
Not looking good in the Centurion area. I don't understand why. Maybe if you're in and around the area, let us know what's happening. WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic. So in the Centurion area, traffic pressure, Hendrik Vervoet between John Foster and Old Joburg Road. Also, the street parallel to that, Lenchen Avenue, also heavily backed up. Between John Foster and Old Joburg Road. There's also bumper traffic in the Irene area, approaching the intersection of Nalmapius Drive and Main Road. Still in Tshwane, Menlyn, traveling towards Centurion, expect about a 20-minute delay. N1 southbound between Linwood Road and the R21 Flying Saucer interchange. Midrand, also about a 20-minute delay. That's on the N1 southbound traveling towards Sandton between Samrand and New Road. Also leaving Sandton heading towards Midrand. Traffic remains heavily backed up on the M1 northbound from Grayston Drive all the way to the N1 Allendale off-ramp. In the south, Proteas Lane, expect about a 20-minute delay on the N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558, while in Netarina. Devland area traveling towards Eldorado Park. Roadworks causing heavy delays on the Golden Highway between Chris Honey Road and Union Avenue, while in Edenville, there's slow-moving traffic that's heading towards Bedford View. R24 westbound between Edenville Road and the Giluli's interchange. I'll have your next Eyewitness News traffic update just after 5:30.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Clever late excuse number 83. You spilled coffee on your clothes and stopped at the shops to get a new shirt. Fortunately, the Outsurance pointsmen on the roads, you no longer have to come up with creative excuses for being late. The Outsurance pointsmen easing traffic congestion and getting you there quickly and safely since 2005. Outsurance really means it when they say you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702. Show them some love online using hashtag Pointsman Love. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702 Podcast
on PrimeMediaPlus.com.
You would think that they are still in office. The commentary, bid columns, you see them on TV quite often. They are really inserting themselves in mainstream politics. And one would think that they've had their turn, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Lukhona Mnguni is political analyst. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about former presidents. He's here to share with us that whether perhaps it's appropriate for them to have their say or not. Lukhona, hi. Thanks for speaking to us on 702.
No, good afternoon, Tabo, and good afternoon to your listeners.
I don't know if I'm being too harsh in my introduction if I say that they've had their turn. Perhaps the democratic order allows them to participate as much as they've been doing.
No, I mean, of course, Tabo, you're quite correct. The democratic order does allow them, but there's almost an unspoken rule about erstwhile leaders and giving space to their contemporaries. But you'll know that there's massive political history between the three former presidents, and it's a history that predates 1994, particularly if you read the history of post unbanning and the constitution of the negotiations committee of the ANC, where effectively President Ramaphosa, then Secretary General of the ANC, effectively rejigged the co-negotiating team of the ANC at the time, and effectively removing Zuma and Mbeki from that. Ever since that fallout, the relationships have not really been that good. They've been quite otherwise sometimes about mutual benefit from the other. But I mean, during Thabo Mbeki's time, you'll remember the fallout after former president, President Ramaphosa was not made deputy president. He sort of left parliament once the constitutional negotiations were done and went on to business and only returned really somewhere around Zuma years into activity in the National Executive Committee of the ANC. Zuma would have wanted to use, Ramaphosa's name as a part of, stabilizing his faction and appeal to big business and so on. In the 2012 conference, and then try to eject him through supporting Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma in the 2017 ANC conference. So the point I'm trying to make really is that, I don't want to repeat everything, but the history between these leaders is important in understanding the visible, public fallouts and attempts to secure particular narratives and legacies, by the way, because in the instance of former President Thabo Mbeki, if you talk to people in his ecosystem, they are quite aggrieved about how much misgovernance there has been since he left office in September 2008. You'll remember that former President Mbeki decided during the tenure of former President Zuma to just remain silent. He wasn't campaigning for the ANC. He wasn't attending any EC meetings. He wasn't saying much after he wrote that letter to former President Zuma in November 2008, where he said, "Dear, Comrade President," and really spoke about the rise of the cult in personality in the ANC around former President Jacob Zuma. And he only really came back to the swing of things when former President Zuma had stepped down and he started re-campaigning for the ANC in 2019. But I feel that because he has come back, he wants a greater stake and sway in things. That's why he attends the National Executive Committee meetings, the Lekgotla meetings, and to a large extent has probably been pushing to be a co-creator with the sitting president insofar as the National Dialogue is concerned. So I think, look, the examination is quite correct, but I think there's much at stake, and I don't think it helps when a lot of people feel like the country has a political leadership vacuum and we might be gravitating towards autopilot if we are not there. It opens up space for whether it's erstwhile leaders, your nemesis, to try and then provide direction over a society that they find or think that it is running adrift.
Lukona, you spoke about the unspoken rule that is there, and I suppose it's also a gentlemanly or lady rule, depending who's occupying the seat, to also know when to speak and not to allow their shadow to loom large over current issues. In your view, has this been the case with both former presidents, namely Zuma and Mbeki?
Well, look, I think to an extent that was the case. I think 2013, to a large degree, has been a breaker point in many ways. 2023 has been a large breaker point for the country. And, we saw former President Jacob Zuma going to lead Mkhonto Wesizwe Party. Into the year 2024, former President Mbeki started making these repeated calls for a national dialogue. It probably says much about, a vote of confidence or no confidence in President Ramaphosa. But it does seem as if those interpersonal relations that have completely eroded over time, amongst them, loss of respect, loss of decorum for one another, and towards one another, and almost, not minding to be openly at loggerheads with each other. Other people did it differently. Former President, the late Nelson Mandela, did it differently in the sense that when he would have been aggrieved about issues over the HIV and AIDS policy of the country, he then went on to just use his foundation and his other charitable causes to campaign and fundraise for HIV and
Yes.
AIDS, and he wasn't. I mean, of course, as you said in your intro, there would have been what is reportedly a fallout in one of the ANC's NEC meeting, to which he sort of came to protest in that meeting, and he was sort of told where to get
Yes.
off. But he went on to continue championing a cause. What I think here is the problem we have not really seen is just continuous what seems to be toe for toe, head to head kind of headbutting amongst these former presidents and with the sitting president, of course.
We should make more time, Lukona, to really expand on this, because history and some bit of background is necessary to contextualize all of this and to delve deeper into it. And we can't do justice to this issue in just 5 minutes. Really appreciate your insights, Lukona Mnguni, political analyst.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
23 after 5, you'd know that a Pretoria court had ruled in favor of Zambian government, saying that in the public interest, Edgar Lungu, former president, remains can be repatriated and given a state funeral against the wishes of the family. Makebi Zulu, spokesperson of the family of ex-Zambian President Edgar Lungu, is joining us right now to share their thoughts and family's views on this. You'd know again that the matter was appealed and they will go back to court on Monday, as it has been reported by Khomotso Modise here on 702, or should I say EWN. Makebi, thanks for your time. Welcome to 702. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me on 702.
Are you positive, optimistic about the outcome of the appeal? Clearly, the news that the court had ruled in favor of the Zambian government did not augur well with the family.
Well, it didn't augur well with the family, and we are optimistic that we have a good case to take to the Superior Court, and that there are quite a number of things that were not addressed by the court and others that were addressed but erroneously so. And that includes the issue of the wishes of the family versus the wishes of the government.
Yeah.
The Pretoria High Court ruled that the wishes of the government supersede those of the deceased as well as those of the family. We do not agree with the court as regards that, and so we have appealed. That was based on what was purported to be public interest from the Zambian context, but there's no such law in Zambia that gives a right over a body of a former president, a superior right to the government that exceeds that of the family. So we are positive.
Of course, a lot of the issues have been ventilated. I don't want to be an echo of my colleagues here on 702 and elsewhere on various platforms on repeating what's been said. But what I'd like to get a sense of, as regards to the appeal, you'll be in court on Monday. Are you open for negotiating with the government still and perhaps getting some bit of relief outside the court, wherein the sitting president, HH, would not preside over the funeral? Are you open to finding each other?
We have always been open to reaching an agreement that will culminate into a dignified send-off. Anything short of a dignified send-off is not acceptable to the family. There are quite a number of things that have been said against the deceased and against the family that gave an impression, or still give an impression, that the government of President HH is incapable of giving the former president a dignified send-off. Should we get the necessary guarantees, we see ourselves resolving these issues.
And ideally, you'd like him to be buried in Zambia, just for the record, right? Given the conditionalities that are on the table.
It is desirable on the part of everyone that he be buried in Zambia. But if that does not culminate into a dignified send-off, the family will be disinclined to take that route.
Where to from here? I mean, the delay as well is not helping to add dignity to this unfortunate charade that has been playing itself out in the public eye.
Well, where to from now? Everything that the family is doing is to ensure that the necessary respect is accorded to the former president in sending him off. And everything that is being done is intended to ensure just that, including the decision to bury in South Africa, is intended to ensure that is given the necessary respect and the dignified send-off as he deserved. Anything that will amount to a mockery is unacceptable for the family.
Makebi Zulu, spokesperson of the family of ex-Zambian President Edgar Lungu, 28 minutes after 5.
EWN Business.
With Stephen Grotes, what is happening? Good afternoon again, Steve.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Tabo. Well, the JSE All share ending the day just down 0.04% at 101,950. Financials flat, industrials up 0.07, resources down 0.42, slightly softer gold prices. I think one of the reasons for that. Avenge reporting just as markets were closing, it will make an operating loss before capital items in the second half of its financial year. It's part of a big project building stations for a railway line in Singapore. It's called the J108 project. It's had big problems there, and that I think is one of the big reasons for that. Sibanye also ending the day down nearly 4%. It expects its earnings per share to be up by over 100% for the first half of the year. That sounds great. Still going to make a loss, though. One of the problems is that American laws have changed around credits given for critical minerals, and as a result, the valuation of those credits changes, and as a result, they'll make a loss. And of course, we've got weak platinum prices, generally speaking, which is part of the reason for that as well. Nedbank down 1%, despite confirming today that they do have a buyer for their 21% stake in EcoBank. We already know what they're doing with the money. They are buying iKhokha. That's the payment platform. It's a deal with 1.65 billion rand. Truworth's also down 1.28% on the day. That's after their update yesterday that showed that they're not having the growth that they wanted in the clothing market. The Premier Group up over 2.5%. Bytes up 8.29%. And then Telkom up 2.35%. A sad ending for Murray and Roberts. 2 meetings they've had of shareholders to liquidate the company. They were not able to get a quorum for a second time eventually to put it out of its misery. Someone's gone to court at one of the creditors and said, listen, let's liquidate this thing. There was no opposition, deliberately so. The judge agreed. And so finally Murray and Roberts has gone. It's a very sad end to a sad chapter of a company with a very long history. Tabo, it's a strange thing, but 9 o'clock or so our time tonight, we expect the US President Vladimir Putin to be meeting with the American President Donald Trump in Alaska. All sorts of sort of expectations, predictions, and some concerns about that. But global stock markets still really near record highs today. There's suggestions that people have some sort of expectation from it. In the US, the Dow Jones is up 0.02%. While the Nasdaq is down 0.42 and the S&P 500 is down 0.26. The gold price today, $3,342.74. Platinum, $1,338.80. Brent crude, $66.41. And the rand to the dollar, 17.57. To the euro, 20.57. To the British pound, 23.84. On the Money Show tonight, we'll talk more about the massive Telkom fiber merger, what it means for you, and it does mean quite a lot for you. More on reform and how you sort of assess reform at the Friday Biz Blitz. And then, Tabo, I don't know the last time you went to a movie. The last time I went to a movie, I was surrounded by popcorn, Coke, and children. And I can tell you that the soundtrack for Frozen 2 isn't nearly as good as the soundtrack for Frozen 1. We will be talking about a completely different type of cinema tonight. You actually have to dress up quite smartly to go.
Yeah. The last time I went for interest sake, Rambo First Blood.
No, come on. You're not that old. Rambo First Blood. You haven't seen any movies since then?
No, I'm just kidding. Of course I have.
Rambo First Blood.
I'm also a victim of Frozen and all those sorts of stuff.
Oh, yeah. But, do you want to build a snowman? No! I want to watch The Greatest Showman. Stephen Grotes, EWN Business.
And on the news side, Eyewitness News headlines. Mbali Dlamini standing by. Hi, Mbali.
Thanks, Taba. Good afternoon. The World Health Organization says it supports the country's proposed tobacco and vaping legislation because smoking costs the country up to 59 billion rand annually through illness and lower productivity. The organization was making submissions this week during public hearings into the Tobacco Products and Electronic Delivery Systems Control Bill. The bill is currently before the Health Portfolio Committee. WHO representative to South Africa, Dr. Shinaz Al-Halbli, says the organization is committed to supporting the country and strengthening its tobacco and nicotine controls. She says smoking has come at a huge cost for the economy.
Tobacco use accounts for more than 59.1 billion, or use costs South Africa more than 59.1 billion annually, which is around 1.8% of the GDP. And these costs include direct healthcare expenses for tobacco-related illnesses and indirect losses for reduced productivity, illness, and premature deaths.
Mpumalanga police are investigating a stabbing incident which led to the death of a grade 8 learner from Senzangakona Secondary School yesterday. The Provincial Education Department says the learner was murdered by a peer. The teenager was declared dead by emergency services who were called by a teacher. Spokesperson Gerald Sambo says the suspect, who is also a grade 8 learner, was then arrested shortly after that incident.
The circumstances leading to this tragic event remain unclear and are currently under investigation by law enforcement authorities. The department extends its deepest condolences to the bereaved family, friends, classmates, and the entire school community during this time of immense grief.
And in the courts, the Lusikisiki massacre trial has adjourned until next week. 6 men linked to the mass murder face charges of conspiracy to commit murder, 18 counts of murder, as well as firearm and ammunition-related charges. They were accused of murdering 18 people in Ngobozana village in Lusikisiki last year. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
The third week of the Lusikisiki massacre trial has now concluded. Today, relatives of some of the victims were called to testify in the trial. There are rather short testimonies focused on the identification of the deceased bodies hours after the gruesome incident. The father of one of the victims shared the experience of having to identify the body of his only daughter just months after he had buried his son. Another witness detailed the harrowing task of identifying 6 of his relatives, including his 2 aunts and cousins. State Prosecutor Nkululeko Mathenjwa then asked that the matter be adjourned to next week Tuesday to allow for new witnesses to be called. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape.
A partly cloudy start to the day tomorrow with afternoon showers and thunder showers expected. Lows of between 5 and 10 degrees and highs of between 22 and 24.
Centurion bumper-to-bumper traffic on Hendrik Verwoerd between John Foster and Old Joburg Road. Traffic is also sluggish in the same area, Lenshin Avenue between John Foster and Old Joburg Road, while in Irene, bumper-to-bumper traffic approaching the intersection of Nalmepius Drive and Main Road.
The top story in EWN, the World Health Organization says it supports the country's proposed tobacco and vaping legislation because smoking costs the country up to 59 billion rand annually.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
Are you those people that are fully inspired by what you went through, or are you a person who can literally imagine scenarios and write for a person going through that?
For me, I must say, I generally tend to write from feeling, so from personal emotion that is very personal to me. I have written for other people based on their situations and circumstances, and also I tend to write to comfort other people, so I pick up on other people's stories and I like to kind of be there for them with my music. I do not often write typical love songs.
Singer-songwriter Phil Higgins.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
Ready to lead and make our world a better place? Regenesis School of Education proudly launches its revolutionary Bachelor of Education program. They don't just develop teachers, they develop conscious leaders equipped with IQ, STEM, AI, and emotional intelligence. Study in the heart of Sandton or online worldwide with a world-class faculty trusted by over 1,000 corporations and 500,000 alumni from 150 countries. Enroll now at regenesis.net/education. Regenesis School of Education, awakening potential.
Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for butcheries, restaurants, beauty salons, and more. Here's Gert.
I definitely have peace of mind that Business Outsurance is protecting our business. I do think Business Outsurance are the best insurance company out there, and they gave us the best quotes.
Switch to Business Outsurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Visit outsurance.co.za. Switch and save today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Let me get this right, Ron. You're a plumber by day and Pretoria's smoothest wedding DJ by night.
Yeah, it started out as a passion and now I've got bookings until December. And a smoke machine that needs its own seatbelt.
And you sold your car to buy a van through We Buy Cars.
Brew, it was music to my ears. Zero admin, no long queues. They pulled in, checked it out, and before I knew it, I had cash in the bank.
Now that's a banger. We Buy Cars. Geared for your passion, geared for you.
The thrill of the chase comes with great rewards in the legendary Hollywood Bets Spinner Zonke Jackpot Race. Join the run, spin selected habanero slots for fun, and stand a chance to win a share of 3 million rand. Feel the rush in the race for riches when you bet 2 rand or more every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, and you can jump with Jackpot Joy. Take on the challenge and discover endless opportunities to win big. Bet now.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
EWN Sport.
With Tolagele Mganga on a Friday that promises amazing sporting weekend. She'll tell us all about it. What's the latest, Tolagele? Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Tabo. Well, the first leg MTN8 semi-finals will take place tomorrow as Kukune United travel to Stellenbosch while Orlando Pirates host Mamelodi Sundowns. Adeslam Wadu has discussed if Tsegofatso Mabasa, Telete Mbata and Dino van Rooyen could make a return, having not featured in all 3 their matches this season.
We have a big squad. We have very good players. Everybody will be important this season. Everybody will be very important. There is not a bad reason that I can answer to you. They are ready. They are performing, and the time will come that we will use them and they will be able to perform for the club.
For Miguel Cardoso's Brazilians, they're looking to beat the Buccaneers in this competition for the first time since 2007.
It will be for sure 2 very beautiful games with a lot of emotionality to deal. I hope we all and people around and the players and the coaches and the management and everybody and the referees also leave the right emotions that must be lived in this kind of games, so that we give South Africa to fantastic football.
Diogo Jota's family is expected to be at Anfield tonight for Liverpool's opening Premier League game against Bournemouth. A moment of silence will then be held at all matches this weekend, with players wearing black armbands, while messages and images will be shown on the big screen in stadiums. For Manchester United, they host Arsenal on Sunday, and Ruben Amorim has confirmed that striker Benjamin Sesko could make his debut against the Gunners.
Physically, he's ready. That is a big component in our league. Then he's really smart. Every detail that he asks is a guy that is always thinking. He spent all afternoon here working on his fitness, so he's ready to play. We'll see if he's going to start.
And the Animal Rugby Championship kicks off on Saturday amid uncertainty over its future. New Zealand will participate in an 8-match tour of South Africa next year during August to October window when the championship is normally staged. That means it rules the 2 of them out from being involved in a double-round championship as well. Amid that backdrop, the double world champions will kick off their campaign tomorrow against Australia. And Andre Esterhuizen wants them to start their title defence off on a winning note.
It is obviously a good carrot for us, but the thing is we take it game by game. You can't look that far ahead. There's obviously 6 tough games lying ahead. So yeah, we take Australia now for 2 weeks. All our focus is on that. If we play how we know we can play and what we should be able to deliver, we might be able to defend it, yes.
Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
With Mr. Charlie, what is happening on our roads? Busy, I suppose. Or has it slowed down a bit?
Well, things have settled down, I must say. Looking pretty good. No accidents have been reported at this hour. Just slight delays if you're heading into the Soweto area. That's Protea Glen on the N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558. Roadworks in the Lenasia area slowing down traffic. This is approaching the intersection of the Golden Highway and the R554 Nirvana Drive. Further up, that's in the Devland area, slow-moving traffic. Also due to roadworks on the Golden Highway between Chris Hani Road and Union Avenue. And when you are traveling into Nooitgesig coming from Langlaagte, there's slow-moving traffic. N17 westbound between Nasrec Road and the Soweto Highway. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
When you talk about testicular, especially as males and how we define our masculinity, did you get like weird reactions from your male friends when you're like, I'm getting my testicles removed, for instance?
Yeah, it's funny how I think men, again, they separate the emotion and from the reality, because they go, oh my gosh, you're bald, you know, that's the reaction.
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh my God, you have cancer.
Yes.
They're more concerned about that. And that's, again, it goes into your head first going, is that what makes me a man? Is that what you say, okay, if you've lost that, it makes you less of a man? And that was the wonderful journey I went on, is discovering what a representation of a strong man is. And it's not things like that. It's not losing a testicle, it's surviving cancer.
Shall testicular cancer survivor.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Ready to lead and make our world a better place, Regenesis School of Education proudly launches its revolutionary Bachelor of Education program. They don't just develop teachers, they develop conscious leaders equipped with IQ, STEM, AI, and the emotional intelligence, studying the heart of Sentin or online worldwide, with a world-class faculty trusted by over 1,000 corporations and 500,000 alumni from 150 countries. Enroll now at regenesis.net/education. Regenesis School of Education, awakening potential.
Meet the new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, re-engineered to be our thinnest and lightest foldable yet. Move with confidence, powered by an ultra-sleek, ultra-slim design that adapts wherever life takes you. Open your world to expansive screens, seamlessly crafted for work and play. It's innovation that fits your pocket. Upgrade to the new Galaxy Z Fold 7 and get double the storage on us. Hurry, offer ends 31 August. T's and C's apply.
Hi, I'm Dion Free. Winning requires audacity. That's why I joined African Bank and opened a 60-month fixed-term investment account. I'm scoring 12.8% interest at expiry on my investment. How cool is that? You too can join the bank that backs you to grow your money. Pop into a branch near you or visit africanbank.co.za. African Bank. Audacity to believe. African Bank is a licensed financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Congratulations to the Powerball winner who won a massive jackpot of over 124 million rand on 5 August 2025. Here's what she said.
The national lottery changed his life. I won a mind-blowing jackpot over 124 million after playing through my banking app. I'm still speechless. Panda Pusha Play for your chance at life-changing jackpot.
Will you be the next big winner? Play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 53 million rand in total estimated jackpots today to find out. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120*7529# for USSD. Panda Pusha Play. Players must be 18 years old and play responsibly. E2 is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
A song, a book, and a dish.
On 702.
Yebo, that time again on a Friday, a song, a book, and a dish. And today's guest needs no introduction, especially if you love music, if you love great South African music. And his name is Nathi Manganyi. We are going to spend some time with him. He's a producer, songwriter, all-around good guy. And I'm glad that he made it to the studio. Welcome, Putwama. I hope you're well.
Bhutam ndiyaphila manje ndiyazibulisela e-studio ndiyabulisana kubaphulaphuli.
Hey, welcome. We are so happy. I was thrilled when you walked in and I thought, wow, you made time for us. It means the world to us.
Yeah.
And I mean, we try to find out a little bit more about people like you on the show, a book, a dish, and a song. So I'm just wondering, where did you grow up? And as we were growing up, what sort of food were you exposed to? What kind of smells were taking place at home or at school or food?
Okay, Bhutam ndikhulele eMaglie. Ndikhulele eMaglie kodwa ndizalelwe eMthatha. But ke ngoku into enzekayo mna ndizithandela umvubo.
What is umvubo?
Umvubo luphuthu oluhlangene namasi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Putu. I'm trying to explain putu in English. It's almost like that rough porridge, ne?
Yeah.
And with sour milk.
Sour milk.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So ndikhule ndisebenzisa kokutya plus imingqusho istempu yabo.
Yeah.
Yeah, izinto ezinjalo. Kukutya esikhule sisitya kona ke oko.
Yeah. I mean, having semp, but semp was almost like a staple diet where you grew up.
Yeah.
Did you grow up in the Eastern Cape?
Ndikhulele Eastern Cape udam ndikhulele nje khona ndikhuliswa ngomakhulu.
Yeah. Umakulu.
Yeah.
So yeah. Again, there's something that's very interesting about the family hierarchy in the African families.
Yeah.
There is a special name for every member of the family. So you can't just say aunt. In English, you would say aunt, but mamkulu means something different. It's your mother's older sister. There's a specific name for that, and she deserves a certain type of respect.
Yeah, but Makulu is grandmother.
I see, not mamkulu.
Yeah,
Makulu. Mamkulu. Yeah, that's grandmother.
My mother's mother.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so Granny's little boy. Yeah. So were you a naughty baby? Because Granny's kids become spoiled and naughty.
But baba ne wisdom.
Yeah.
Because uyabona yonke into ayaziyo umakhulu uyidlulisela la.
Yes.
So, I think that is why singabantu abangathi ba wise apha elifini because zikhuliswe ngomakhulu. Yeah.
And that is killing me here, saying that his wife, obviously from the grandmother, he deduced a lot of wisdom from being raised by his grandmother, and such is typical of individuals who are raised by a grandmother. But some people would say umakhulu spoils you a little bit more because she knows and she's also fixing her mistakes of being a parent with her grandchildren, things that she didn't know. But tell us a little bit about school, your school life. How was it that side? Were you playing soccer in the East? And where in the Eastern Cape exactly?
Eastern Cape udam eMaglie khona indawo kuthiwa kuseMaglie
where?
ebizwa ngokuyinqanqarhu. Kuthiwa kusenqanqarhu yango.
PE East London, where about?
I think kwela cala la koma Queens kwaMamthatha yabo.
Oh, I see.
Berkeley East.
Yes.
La macala.
Yeah.
So ndikhulele kula macala.
Did Makhulu teach you how to sing? Because you're such a great singer.
Umakhulu wami becula, bekwazi ukucula, like phansi yonke ifamily yami besikwazi ukucula. Umama wami becula, utatam becula, umakhulu sonke ekhaya siyacula.
But at that time, when you went to school, I'm keen to know about some of the books that you were reading in school at that time, because they were almost similar throughout South Africa. The black schools had similar books almost.
Ebudam thina sifunde kwizikolo zabantu abamnyama like besisenza la bantu education yabo. So besikhula sifunda incwadi yabona izincwadi kuthiwa londolozani isiXhosa. Yabona incwadi ezinjalo wena bhuti wami. But ke ngoku apha ekukhuleni mina eyona ncwadi endiye ndayithemba ndacinga ubana ngabo okay izinto ezithethayo noko ziyenzeka iBhayibhile. iBhayibhile noko uyabona incwadi ungayithemba but funeka ujonge uba ibhalwe ngubani.
Yes.
ixesha elininzi ufuna ukukhangela uba lo muntu ebeyibhala udlulisa ntoni yintoni la igqithisayo ngencwadi because khona izinto abantu bagqithisa izinto ngencwadi yebo uyakwazi umuntu upusha into ayipushayo ngencwadi so ibhayibhile ndithatha ngoba yimanuali yomuntu yebo
Okay. So for you, the Bible, out of all the books that you've read, you believe that the Bible is still a very solid text that helps you throughout life. And as you're saying that, then whenever there's a book, the author often pushes a certain narrative. And in this instance, you feel that the Bible speaks true, a more positive, true narrative about life. So it means are you a staunch Christian?
Ndikhuliselwe ecaweni. Ndikhuliswe ngabazali bebethandaza. So yiyo le nto ingathi yiyona ncwadi endiye nayibona ubana ngaba iziprofeto zayo ziye zenzeke. Even though incwadi yabhalwa kudala but izinto yazithethile uba ziza kwenzeka sizibona zisenzeka. So yiyo le nto ndiye ndiyithembe.
So my brother, so given that you grew up in church, as you're saying, and you honestly are a Christian person, and you subscribe to Christianity. I'm just wondering, did you experience any changes later on in life where you were maybe questioning the Bible itself?
Mawungumntu lapha emhlabeni vele zikhona izinto andithi singabantu sizalelwa lapha emhlabeni so zikhona izinto esiye sizenze because asizongelosi asizo-angels yabo because singabantu so uye urealize ekugqibeleni uba mhlawumbi okanye ndiphume ecaleni ebhayizile phana phaya but ke ngoku iphinde ikubuyisele endleleni kwayona yabo.
So in your favorite book, what's your favorite verse? What's your favorite chapter?
Ebutwam Indumiso 23 uyehova ngumalusi wam.
Psalm 23.
Psalm 23 yabona iyakubonisa ubana ngaba noba ungaphuma endleleni but yena uyehova ngumalusi wakho.
But now my brother, I'm sure given that you are a musician and you love music, what kind of songs were you listening to when you were growing up, the sounds that really inspired you?
Butwam andifuna uphosisa ndikhuliswe ngabatata oCaiphus Menye otata uHugh Masekela yabo ndikhuliswe ngabo oPodringo. If uyamamela umculo wami usondele kakhulu kubantu abafana nabo because ndikhule ndimamela bona.
Were you singing along to Caiphus Semenya when you
kakhulu butwam yo?
Other than the song that we are going to play now that you've chosen to be your main song, what other Caiphus Semenya song really touches you, or anyone else where you would find yourself alone singing along to it?
Ikhona ingoma katata uCaiphus ethi madoda nansi indaba ilikhuni lendaba. Uthema ulobola wathi ufuna umfazi yebo. So yabona ingoma ezinjalo ziyasifundisa nathi because la ngoma ithetha ngoku-abuse kwabantu abangomama ngokuhlukunyezwa kwabantu abangomama. So iyakubonisa ubana ngaba xa uthatha umuntu ongumama awumthathelanga uba mawumhlukumeze yabo.
Nathi Mankai, thank you so much for coming to the studio, my brother. It means the world to us. In just a few seconds, the word to your fans who are out there and who love your music, who love you.
Ndifuna ukuthi kwi-supporters zami abantu abathanda umculo wami ndiyabulela kakhulu ngothando, ndiyabulela ngoba abantu bathenga umculo wami bandenze ndazazi ubana ngaba ndingulo muntu ndinguye because kuthiwa umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu, so ndiyabulela kakhulu ngothando.
And your favorite song as we introduce it is by
Caiphus Semenya.
And the title?
Zipinkomo.
What a jam. What a jam. Thank you so much, my brother. And we hope to see you again. And that's the choice of our guest, Nathi Mankai. Caiphus Semenya, Zipinkomo.
What in daughter sing Congo? What you turn the way, whoever be. What in daughter sing Congo? Zion. Give funa bantwana, ngifuna nomuzi. Amasiko kuthi aqalekelayo. Angifuna ukukhipha nawe. Suhlala nami, nothando lwami. What you turn away, and igqelela eziqithini. What you turn away, and igqelela eziqithini, whoever be.
On the background, the great Ntate Caiphas Katsi Semenya Zipping Goma, the live version of the song, Choice of Nati. And thank you so much to the great team that put the show together. Thanks to everyone who made it so amazing. And we will be saying goodbye to you shortly. And most importantly, thanks to you for indulging me. I think last week sometime you heard about that sordid act of the two policemen who were killed in Rodiport, brutally murdered in Rodiport this week, and they will be laid to rest. Whenever there's police brutality, we make a noise about it. Equally so, whenever policemen come under fire, we should stand up and say a battle against police is a battle against the state. I wish that they may all be buried well. They may be, I hope, rest in peace. And Fondo Sintwa and the colleague, rest in peace. Stephen Grotes coming up next. Almost.
And now, The Money Show.
With Stephen Grotes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And DSTV channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Curtis is brought to you by ABSA CIB, equipping you with efficient and secure cash management solutions for your